So it's going to end up being a battle of the middles to see who can actually get them rolling. And I tell you what, with Harry Grant at the helm, with the middles at the Melbourne Storm, I'm backing them in, even though it is basically a full house here at Brookvale. It is absolutely incredible. For a terrible weather evening, everybody's turned out to watch Fosball live.
They do it well here at Brookie, don't they? Always sell out crowds. Thank you, Roo. Back to you very soon. Dean Hallertau. Hamoli Olakawatu, his last chance to push for a potential Origin recall after being overlooked for Game 2. And, of course, that New South Wales squad is named tomorrow night.
Yeah, obviously there's been a lot of chat about him missing Game 2 and obviously the impact that he's had for the Seagulls since Kieran Foran took over. He sort of reinvigorated his season, has been really strong. So if he puts a big one in tonight, there's a good chance of Game 3.
Out come the Storm in their white away jerseys and their Mark Hughes beanies. Fullback Suafailongo, wingers Will Warbrick, a hat-trick last week, and Moses Leo. Centres Sualangi, Tumalatu Brown and Joe Chan. 5'8" Cam Munster, halfback Tyron Wishart, lock Trent Liero, back rowers Cooper Clark and Adebalu Lasati, props Stefano Yatoikamanu and Josh King. Hooker and captain Harry Grant. Bench is Trent Tolau, Jack Hetherington, Josiah Pahulu, Alec McDonald, Sean Blore and Stanley Hewen, who's only played the 2 games to date. Of course, their coach is Craig Bellamy. 7 wins, 8 losses, the Melbourne Storm. 5 wins in their past 6 starts, and out come the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. Jake and Tom Trbojevic lead them out. The fullback is Tom Trbojevic. Wingers Jason Saab and Lehigh Bawadi in his 50th game. Centres are Tolu Kola and Josh Melody. Big opportunity in him tonight, the absence of Ruben Garrick. 5'8" Luke Brooks, halfback Jamal Fogarty, lock Jake Trbojevic, back rowers Molly Olakawatu, Ben Trbojevic, props Paseka and Laiafi, his first career start, Simeone Laiafi. Bench, the hooker will be Jake Simpkin. The bench, Ethan Bullymore, Joey Walsh, Nathan Brown, Aaron Schott, Blake Wilson, Hugo Hart, who was yet to debut. Our referees Ashley Klein, our touch officials Kieran Irons and Matt Noyan, Grant Atkins in the bunker. Your tip, Dean Hallertau?
I'm going to go with Ruan and tip the Storm.
Okay, so Roo said the Storm. I love this sellout crowd here, despite the drizzly conditions here. Storm will kick off. I'll say Manly for the sake of not getting, approached in the car park later on after the game. Let's go. Manly, Melbourne, Battle of Brookvale 2026 style. And we'll see if the Storm can keep their winning form going or if the Seagulls can bounce back on the winners list. Underway on this Saturday night, ABC Sport. Storm kick-off, and Jason Saab slips over as he takes that high ball kick-off and now dragged towards the western touchline. 13 out to his own line, running away from their centre of excellence, that one end of Brookvale Oval, as it does come through centre field to Simeone Laiafi. Only his 6th game overall, signed a recent new deal into 2028. He's still just 19 years of age. The Seagulls go from right to left quickly. Tom Trbojevic links up with Tolu Kola, and he's collared out there by Joe Chan and co. 40 out from his own line, 5 in from the eastern side of the ground in front of that packed hill. Here's Ben Trbojevic here on this second last play. Couple of tackles left in the set as it's moved across from hooker at Simpkin, of course, in the absence of Brandon Wakeham. And now Tom Trbojevic claim metre shot a halfway. Last play for the Seagulls. First set of the game. Up goes the kick from Jamal Fogarty. Called for by Suafailongo. And he skips over that 20-metre line. And we'll start their first set of the game from there for the Storm. Grant at dummy half. Off. In fact, it's Wishart at dummy half. Off here to the left-hand side. And setting up behind Will Warbrick is Harry Grant, this time on play 3. Across the right-hand side they go. The Storm here, 35 out from their own line. Grant back here again for Yatoi Kamanu, and he's over the 40 here. 8 short of the halfway in the Storm's first attacking set of the game. 90 seconds in. Kick does come from behind the ruck to dummy half, and it goes over. Was it 40-20? Nope. No, it was not. Didn't quite. It was kicked from just in front of the 40. So it will be Manly Warringah's ball here. 10 metres out from their own line at Northern End. Back to Ruan Sims for the touchline.
I think that's a shot over the bow there by the Melbourne Storm. They need to be aware of positioning, especially when Harry Grant is in 9 and they were under pressure there. It was a brilliant kick, and watch the defence of the Melbourne Storm really ramp up now.
To mention Harry Grant, who was off the bench in sort of 2 of his past 3 games, either sort of post-origin, of course, came off the bench against Canberra last week and now starting in the Melbourne number 9. Seagulls on the advance. 30 out, 20 in from the western side. Layafi plays it to Simpkin. Through hands, Jake Trbojevic, and now Brooks to Tom Trbojevic. Burst on the inside there of Joe Chan. Run down from behind by Tyron Wishart. Played 7 short of the halfway. Manly going towards that centre line with Ben Trbojevic. And 20 in from the eastern side. It will be last play for the Manly Warringah Seagulls. We're wearing their 2008 Heritage Strip tonight. Simpkin to the right-hand side. Jamal Fogarty. Significance of that in Halifax, of course, that was the year they beat Melbourne 40-0 in the grand final, the Seagulls. Here's Farlongo, who tries to just shake and bake his way around that man in Layafi, and now claims 25 out from his own line.
Yeah, a bit of a contrast to start from either team. The Manly Seagulls, as we've seen from previous weeks, they're willing to shift the ball early, even coming out of their own end. So the wet conditions haven't dampened their willingness to shift.
40 out, 20 in from the western side. Scoop off the deck by Harry Grant. Munster off here to Cooper Clark, one of this year's debutants on the NRL logo western side. A couple of tackles left in this set for the Storm. Through hands it comes. Liero to Tyron Wishart. Back on the inside, Yatoi Kamanu. Hand in the air from Refash Klein for last play, Melbourne. Wishart a couple of kicks and the step high down towards the corner and allowed to bounce by Tom Trbojevic, and Will Warbrick has given away the penalty here, going Manly's way. So disrupting Tom Trbojevic in the air. So it will be penalty Manly, the first of the game after 4 minutes, and still no score. Manly and Melbourne on ABC Sport.
Yeah, well, he's been great in the air, hasn't he, Will Warbrick? So he gets down nice and early, sprinting through, and just gets his timing wrong, and he gets the arm out, jumps over the front of Tom Trbojevic, and that's why the penalty was rewarded.
So it's part of the 2008 celebrations. I mentioned Glenn and Brett Stewart are here. Good to see Brett, even though someone stole his car park on the way, and it's on the list of Brett S's. 7 short of the halfway. Ben Trbojevic here for the Seagulls. 4.5 gone first half and still no score. It comes across to Paseka, makes the break over halfway. Run down from behind by Cameron Munster. He'll play at 35 out centre field. Simpkin rips it left hand side. Brooks back on the inside now for Layafi. Good post contact game there on Yatoi Kamanu and co. 30 out middle of the park here on their second last play for the Seagulls. Early kick from Fogarty for the corner there of Saab, bursting through, but Tumalachu Brown is there first, but must ground the ball in the in-goal area, and it will be line drop out. Melbourne, you're with Brett Sprague alongside Ian Hallertau, NRL Saturday on ABC Sport, and this is Ruan Sims on the touchline.
Well, again, a brilliant kick there down that little right edge, just a dink over the top, because the defensive line of the Melbourne Storm was really up in the face there, and it was a foot race, and unfortunately there for the Melbourne Storm, they were tackled in goal, but I tell you what, I like the fact that they're both moving the ball around in this weather.
So Sua Farlongo takes a short drop out and will go about 15 metres by way of field position, and now taken by Lehigh Opalati, the 50th gamer. Played to the equally fast, or in fact even more fast, Tolu Kola. He's 3 metres shy of Storm's line southern end. Dummy half Opalati across to first receiver Brooks, and now on to Layafi. Straightens his run toward the post. He's 10 out here early in the set now for the Sea Eagles. Simpkin across now to Fogarty. Left to right they come as Feld. He might go himself. It was run down there by Tumalatu Brown. Metre short of that southern goal line now. Simpkin got the pass out in close to Hamoli Olakauatu, and who else to score the opening points of the night? The man who's got a point to prove if he is to make a last-ditch effort to have himself recalled to the New South Wales team. It's 4-0 Manly kick to come after 6.5 minutes. NRL Saturday on ABC Sport. Dean Hallertau.
Yeah, well, smart football from the Manly Seagulls, and it started with the repeat set, as Ruan said, the cheeky little kick over the top which earns them that dropout, and then they shifted to their right. I thought there was an opportunity for Josh Valley to get the ball away to Saba, tackle earlier and score the points, but they had them shift, they had them spread, I should say, on their own goal line, and Jake Simpkin, he looks up to shape to throw the long pass, but he hits Olakauatu short, and he's virtually untouched as he goes across to score the first points for this evening.
Back to the touchline, Ruan Sims.
Well, that was really smart play there by Olakauatu just to hit him short, because the previous set of 6, they put a bit of work into Cooper Clark, and he'd had to do a little bit of travelling. He tried to tackle Paseka, and then he had to come back and travel out, in, out. So there was a bit of fatigue there, and the young man just overread it, stood on the outside shoulder of Olakauatu, which you cannot do. You need to get in front and put numbers in there, and he makes you pay.
Fogarty 20 out and about 13 in from the western side. Southern end of Brookvale Oval to make it 6-0 Manly. Jamal Fogarty makes no mistake. First up here, so he's 1 from 1. Manly Warringah 6, Melbourne Storm 0. As we approach the 8-minute mark here, NRL Saturday on ABC Sport. Repeating earlier in Townsville, the Cowboys 26 beat the Panthers 12. Back-to-back defeats now for Ivan Cleary's men for the first time this year, of course. Only 3 losses overall. And earlier at Lang Park, the Dolphins 26 beat the Warriors 24. Who gets this one? How can the Storm respond here? You're with Brett Sprigg alongside a couple of World Cup winners, Dean Hallertau and Ruan Sims, across the ABC platforms across this great land and beyond. You can text us 0467 920 222. Get to the text shortly as Saab feeds the ball off to Laiafi, and he just charges into those 4 white jerseys in defence there. Munster in there first in concert with Josh King. And now they move it across through centre field. 25 out from that northern line. Running left to right here as you look at your ABC Listen app. Simpkin goes across here to find Paseka. Made a good half break on that previous attacking foray for the Seagulls. Of course, they have scored the first points of the night through Hamoli Olakau'atu. 6-0 their lead. Here's Ben Trebojevic on tackle 4 here. 7 short of the halfway. 10 in from the eastern side. Simpkin back across now for Jake Trebojevic, and he goes charging into Liero and Grant. He stands in that tackle. Now it's last play Manly. Metre inside Melbourne territory. Simpkin comes short side left to Brooks. Off a step, the kick high towards Suafolongo. He takes the high ball despite the greasy conditions, and now he's met solidly down there by Ben Trebojevic. 20 out, 20 in, eastern side in his own half of Brookvale Oval.
Yeah, smart play there from the Manly Seagulls. That's what you want. Completion after points, I should say. But Luke Brooks, a good kicking option when everyone's focused on Jamal Fogarty.
Manly 6, Melbourne 0. Clever offload here from Harry Grant to Farlongo. Back to Wishart, who's run down from behind on the chase and tackle of Olakau'atu, the game's only try scorer so far. 7 short of the halfway. Big hit from Feldy on Leo. Somehow Leo keeps the ball, but dragged towards the western touchline by Jake Simpkin. Some afters here as well. Oh, here we go. It's really on now. Battle of Brookvale style. Brooks comes in. There's jerseys being grabbed. Ref Klein saying that's enough, gentlemen. I don't know if he's pointing here to just sort of get to disperse the players, or he's awarded a Manly penalty here, but it is 6-0 Manly.
Yeah, he's given the penalty.
He has, yeah. What do you reckon, Roo? It was not too far away from you.
Oh, I know it wasn't too far from me, but there was a lot of bodies in between me and what was actually happening. All the TV cameras got right up in there, as you can see from the shots on the replay right there. But I tell you what, I don't know what the penalty was for. Maybe it was for starting that bit of a fracas.
I think he called Feldy was sort of the
he was the aggressor.
So, yeah, he tapped
I think
here,
it was
Feldy.
for starting it. Anyway, here, they're back into it.
It's one of those nondescript sort of melees, Roo, where there was just sort of jerseys being grabbed. No actual punches, of course, which you don't see much of these days. Ref Ash Klein just closed time off here just to... there's another footy on the ground in front of that southern goal line. Manly deep in Melbourne territory, 30 out. There's Laiafi trying to count it himself in his first career start in career game number 6. He's inside 20 southern end. Simpkin back to Brooks. Darting run here from the veteran 5'8", and now collected by Munster. Play it 12 out, right hand side of the post. Simpkin across now again for Jake Trebojevic. Runs it across the line, does Fogarty. Back on the inside now for Ben Trebojevic. Now he's 7 out from Melbourne's line. Simpkin a flat ball for Trebojevic. Set restart Manly, by the way. So they get another set here right on Melbourne's goal line. They lead 6-0. Can they double that advantage here? Simpkin, short side right for Brooks. Catch and run here from the veteran. Slips a tackle, takes on Moses Leo and Cam Munster. And Brooks is piled back here. 2 metres shy of Melbourne's line, southern end. They come short side right. Olakau'atu again crashes over. Put himself in close, right-hand side of the ruck, and the back rower scores 2 tries in the space of 10 minutes. It's Manly 10, Melbourne 0. Seagulls kick to come on ABC Sport. Dean Hallertau.
Well, the conversation about Olakau'atu being included in Origin is getting louder and louder as this game starts to heat up for Olakau'atu. Another one close to the line, and a little combination with Jake Simpkin. He's recognising the defence is split around the ruck, and there's some poor decision made by that edge defence. Very inexperienced, you'd say, for the Melbourne Storm. But Olakau'atu, he's kind of just loitering around, not doing much. But as soon as that opportunity pops up and he sees that the defenders aren't quite set, he gets on his spike, he responds or reacts to Jake Simpkin, and it's a simple line run near the try line. He just gets straight over.
Back to the touchline, Ruan Sims.
Well, I would like to know what Cooper Clark has done to Hamoli Olakuatu, because yet again he's picked him out right on the try line. He picked him out, ran directly at his inside shoulder. They've been putting so much work into this left edge defence of the Melbourne Storm, and they just keep coming back and attacking. Luke Brooks light on his feet, and I tell you what, Manly, they have been starting this game absolutely on fire. They are full of energy and have no signs of slowing down.
They are red hot in these cool and windy Northern Beaches conditions on this Saturday night. Here's Jamal Fogarty, similar place as his previous kick. He's 1 from 1. He's 21 out here, 12 in from the western side to make it 12-0 Manly after 12 and a half minutes. And he does just that. Sneaks it in. Fogarty 2 from 2. Both tries to Hamoli Olakuatu as he's making a strong case for his Origin recall with that team announced tomorrow night by Laurie Daly and his selection team. So, 0467 920 222 is the SMS number as always. NRL Saturday on ABC Sport, and I'll get to those when I get a moment as well. Where is it? For the Dolphins win, it feels like a grand final show now. Go Melbourne and love the call and thank you, says one correspondent. Keep your hands to yourself, Will Warbrick, says one texter as well. Give away the penalty, first penalty of the game, and now as it's brought back from the kickoff, Olakuatu is cleaned up here, but in fact there's more concern.
It's Moses Leo.
Yeah,
sorry,
Moses Leo. Thanks, Roo. Jump in.
Moses Leo. Only because it happened right in front of him. They're calling for the stretcher immediately, and great sportsmanship there. Jamal Fogarty has immediately called for the referee to stop the game. Unfortunately, as he comes in for that contact, I can see an egg already forming on his forehead. There is huge contact on Hamoli Olakuatu, and he just hits the deck straight away.
Yeah, I can see the replay now. I didn't catch it in real time, but
it looks like a head clash too.
Yeah.
But he's moving now, so that's a positive sign.
Yeah, it didn't look good as it first happened. Thank you, Roo. So he's laid out on the 20-metre line here, Moses Leo, and one can only assume now with the extra set of help coming out and the stretcher that Moses Leo's night will be done after only 13 minutes.
Yeah, unfortunately for Moses Leo, he got himself in an awkward spot, sort of wedged in between defenders there with his teammates, and then Olakuatu was a big man, and at high speed off the kickoff is very hard to contain, just gets himself crossed up, and let's hope he's okay.
Team, I'm on the Central Coast, but work mostly in the Newcastle area. I've noticed so many people wearing Manly caps, jerseys, etc. up there lately. Possibly one of the most popular out-of-town teams up there, says Daz in Gosford. Listening in my camper van in Ravenshoe, Queensland. Go Manly. Cheers, Sam. Tim and Lismore says, I love Ruan Sims. Well, so do we, Tim. So thank you for your text, and she's amazing. Dion, happy Saturday, Brett. Dean Ruan, love to hear everyone on the show. Enjoy your weekend. Manly to win, says Dave in Nowra. And the Gear Steward says, how is your brother Glenn travelling? Referring to Brett Stewart, of course, in that case of mistake on identity before. He's up and walking off, which is at least pleasing. Rude, Moses Leo.
Yeah, certainly is. And I would say that's probably going to be a cat one, because he was out asleep before he hit the deck. But I'll find out for certain.
Yes. Kevin Miranda says, has Jonty got the night off tonight? No, he doesn't usually work Saturdays, John Gibbs, but I'm sure he's watching this game from his, if he's not here, he'll be at his place not too far away at North Curl. Manly 12, Melbourne 0, 13 gone first half here, NRL Saturday on ABC Sport. You can hear Gibbsy along with Andrew Moore and Luke Lewis tomorrow, of course. They'll be at Canberra Stadium for the usual pre-game fun from midday. Paseka was shoved back in the ruck down there by Yutoi Kamanu, but no penalty forthcoming here for the home side, and now it's in the hands of Fogarty, who's claimed 35 out. Plays to Simpkin, who's right-hand side, Tom Taboyevich. Here's Olakuatu, 2 tries so far tonight, and now run aground by Wishart on the NRL logo, western side. Hurry kick to win the set here from Fogarty, a high spiralling ball, taken by Suafolongo, feeds it it back here again now to that man in Tuamalatu Brown. He'll be playing at 20 out, 20 in from the western side here at Brookvale Oval. Storm continue on the attack. Grant off to his right here as Paseka makes the tackle in there on Joe Chan. Grant across to his right-hand side now for Adavalo Lasati. They scored a try against the Raiders last week. Storm find themselves 2 tries down here. Manly 12, Melbourne 0 as Josh King has claimed. 7 short of the halfway. Last play for the visitors. Grant finds Munster. Wobbly kick, travels high and long downfield. On the bounce, it was Orca for Hopewadi. Batted back here now by Trent Tolau. But on it first is Ben Trbojevic. So Manly turned defence into attack very quickly and get possession back with a 12-0 lead at Dean Hallertau. 15 gone first half.
Yeah, it looks like with Moses Leo going off that the reshuffle has been Tyron Wishart to left centre, and we can see Trent Toilau out there on the right. I believe is defending as a half at the moment.
12-0 the scoreline here. Jake Trbojevic back on the inside now for Paseka, and he's 5 inside that Melbourne Storm half, southern half of Brookvale Oval. Paseka will play it there for Simpkin. Off to his right now, Fogarty. Olakawatu, he'll look past to Tom Trbojevic, and he gallops into the tackle of Wishart. Almost went beyond horizontal there, the tackle from Wishart. 30 out, 10 in western side. Last play for the Seagulls. 12-0 their lead. Olakawatu from dummy half finds Fogarty. Up goes the kick. Falongo calls for it, takes the catch, and then he's brought down by Brooks. Now he's Ash Klein just having a chat here too.
I believe it did.
So did he initially call it was...
Yeah.
Well, no. Apparently...
Let's go, guys. Hey, mate. One-on-one steal forward to scrum. Let's go. Right.
Oh, you say it was one-on-one steal and then
knock forward.
Lost. Yeah, okay. So it will be Melbourne's scrum feed, 10 metres out from their own line at southern end. Manly does lead the game 12-0. 16 minutes played first half. NRL Saturday on ABC Sport. Down to Ruan very shortly. Here's Tuamalatu Brown. Starting in the centres for Jack Howarth, who has the quad contusion injury, and 20 out from that southern line. Over the red paint they go. The Storm through Cooper Clark. Played to Harry Grant. Across here now to Toikamanu. Made light work of Jake Simpkin in that centre field run. And now roll it back for Harry Grant. Josh King gains a quick 7-8 metres now. Tackled 20 in from the eastern side. 5 short of the halfway. Grant here back now to Trent Liero. And he's collected on the halfway line here by Leafi. Play it to Grant to win the set. And the kick now does come from Trent Tolau. So the first player used off the bench, of course, in reaction to Moses Leo, who was flattened as he was looking to tackle Amoli Olakawatu in that previous set. He was out cold for a couple of seconds at least, Moses Leo. We'll get update from Milan very shortly. Here's Leo Opawati, 30 out from his own line here at Brookvale Oval. Manly 12, Melbourne 0. 17 gone, 23 left in this first half. Played by Kola. Simpkin, the running man there, and Nathan Brown gains 15, 16, 17 over halfway. The veteran Ford will play it. 40 out, 20 in western side. Inside Storm territory now. Jake Trbojevic back here to Brooks, and now a catch. It was very clever there from Kola. Almost lost the greasy, slippery footy, and now he's collared 25 out, 10 in from the eastern side. Dummy half Ben Trbojevic off to Brooks. Up goes a hurried kick. Going up was Hopewadi against his teammate there, Tom Trbojevic, and now that allows some space for Falongo to burst through Dean Hallertau, but he's stopped now 25 out from his own line.
Yeah, good defusal there from Falongo, but the Manly Seagulls definitely got in each other's way, and just the speed with which the Seagulls are getting downfield. Their ruck speed is enormous at the moment, really challenging the middle forwards of the Storm.
Seagulls 12, Storm 0 here on ABC Sport. You're with Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau, Ruan Sims, Harry Grant, across here to Trent Liero, and he's taken low in the tackle by Jake Trbojevic, and up top Jake Simpkin. Grant bursts from dummy half himself, shares it here with Trent Tolau. He makes the break, he's to the 20, and Tom Trbojevic gets him there, the fullback. 17 out, 10 in from the eastern side. Still a couple of plays left in this set now for the visitors. Can they find their first point? Jinking run here from Munster, shared to Grant, and now he's brought down by Benjamin. The footy comes loose as well, and passed on by Tom Trbojevic. Ash Klein saying it was a double knock on Manly's scrum feed here. 10 out from their own line. Ruan Sims on the touchline.
Yeah, first knock on was by Harry Grant, second knock on was by Tom Trbojevic, but that was signs of life there for the Melbourne Storm, so I'm sure Craig Bellamy will be a little bit happier with that set of 6. Unfortunately for Moses Leo, what he won't be happy about, his night is over. It was definitely a Cat 1, so unfortunately he will not be returning and he'll have 11 days to prove his fitness to return to the field.
Good on you, Roo. And bye next week for the Storm at least, so that will, won't cost him any games, that 11-day period. Spriggy, how about my Cowboys? Shop and Ruan says Jodes in Mackay, and Mitch says it's beautiful listening to the ABC Sport Radio commentary. The crowd roar can be heard across the entire Brookvale Valley. Go Manly tonight. Is that an eagle emoji? Good on you, Mitch. Seagulls 12, Storm 0 here at the midway point of the opening 40. And now Jason Saab, the winger, on only a very short gain, 27 out from his own line. Simpkin across short side right. Olakau'atu again looks so dangerous. And he gains 15 here before Wishart collars him, 5 short of the halfway. He's scored both of their tries tonight, Molly Olakau'atu, as he presses for New South Wales selection. Set restart Seagulls, and Nathan Brown makes a few more metres inside Storm territory. Only on tackle 2. Simpkin comes open side left. Brooks off to Paseka. Backs his way there into Josh King and Cooper Clark, and will now play it. 42 out centre field. Simpkin across to his right this time. Fogarty back on the inside for Josh Feldy. Shoves away Cooper Clark. Going low, Harry Grant. Up top, Clark and King. Feldy will play it now for the Seagulls. 35 out. Simpkin across to Brooks on that left-hand side. Tom Dewurich here. Out of the Joe Chan tackle. Still going here, the fullback and captain. He ducks past Harry Grant. Put down by King. 23 out middle of the park here, the Seagulls. Couple of plays left in the set. As Simpkin goes across to his right. Fogarty back on the inside now for Paseka. Inside Melbourne's red zone now. 16 out, right-hand side of the sticks. They lead 12-0 Manly. Simpkin across to Brown, and now Brooks. Pass wide was a little untidy and sort of bounces and trickles over the eastern side. Chased there by Lehi Hopewadi. So it's Manly 12, Melbourne 0. 19 left in this first half. NRL Saturday on ABC Sport. After earlier, the Cowboys 26 beat Penrith 12 in Townsville, and at Lang Park, the Dolphins 26 beat the Warriors 24.
Yeah, first bit of poor execution, I guess, we've seen from the Manly Seagulls. A bad pass from Luke Brooks, but the pressure that came from Harry Grant at his inside is what forced it.
Tolau at dummy half gets this next set going here for the Melbourne Storm. 32 out from that southern line. Joe Chan plays it back now for Harry Grant, and Yutoi Kamanu here is put down by Jake Trbojevic. The other one who lost his place in the New South Wales side this year, Stefano Yutoi Kamanu, as far as being an incumbent from last year. 7 short of the halfway here, Harry Grant. So set restart going Melbourne's way. Tolau across to his right now on that short side. It's almost lost there by Lasati, but recovered in time. And on tackle 3 to go over halfway. Trailing 12-0 the Melbourne Storm. Munster's inside ball here for Cooper Clark. And now tackled centre field down there by Olakau'atu. Grant dummy half. Engineers the pass to his right. Munster off to Tolau. Almost lost it again here. He's won a full 360 the tackle by Hopewadi. 25 out. 20 in from the eastern side here on this second last play of the set for the Storm. Show and go from Munster. Brown gets him down. We've got the offload away in time to Josh King. Still alive on this second last play. King flick pass back to Grant. Still alive here on 5. And now Faolongo has a flick pass of his own. Came off the Manly Seagulls. Wasn't played up though, so it won't be 6 more. Now with the last play for the Storm. 11 out, right-hand side of the post, northern end. Grant, dummies left. Kicks to the right though here. It's fielded by Luke Brooks. And the Seagulls turn defence into attack once more. The 12-0 lead. Shop, 17 left first half.
Yeah, some really nice football being played by the Storm on this occasion, and the key guys getting involved. Obviously Munster, Harry Grant spotting some opportunities to jump out, bring his forwards onto the ball, and really probing through the mid stages this half.
Long shift across here for the home side. Left to right, they come to the edge with Josh Feldy. And he's put down there by Munster. 25 out from that northern line. Fogarty across to Jason Saab. Set up on quickly there by Liero and also Lasati. Centre field run now again here for Nathan Brown in this yardage set. Tackle 3, make it 4 now. Simpkin across to Brooks. The kick does come down through centre field now for Longo. Back to Will Warbrick. 3 tries last week for the winger. He ragdolls Ben Trebojevic despite being the man with the ball, and he'll play it now 40 out from his own line. Falongo off to Joe Chan. He goes nowhere. Jake Trebojevic gets in and puts him on his back, and the footy comes loose. So Trebojevic forces the error. Really Manly scrum near halfway. They lead 12-0 with 16 left in this first half. Touchline we go. Ruan Sims.
I think Joe Chan will have a little tip on his little tip sheet next time they play Manly. Do not run directly at Jake Trebojevic. Jake Trebojevic has one of the best tackle techniques in the game. He gets nice and low. He keeps the legs moving. He keeps driving, keeps his head in tight, and he forces the ball free. And I tell you what, all of the Manly fans on the hill, they absolutely love that one.
By the way, thank you, Peter in Cairns, who corrects me on my pronunciation of the place in far north Queensland. Ravenshoe, not Ravenshoe. Ravens don't wear shoes, so I can't imagine that would be a... Thank you, Peter, who says, great call. Adam in Camberwell says, surely Olakau'atu has played himself back into the blue. So far, so good. 2 tries in the opening 10 minutes for Manly's back rower. Here we go off the back of the Melbourne era. They're 40 out from the Storm line here, Ben Trebojevic, and he's pulled on there by Joe Chan, who made the error. 35 out from that southern line. It's only half Kohler, and now Brooks on the inside to Nathan Brown on tackle 3 here for the Seagulls. Make it 4 as Simpkin goes to open side right. Fogarty catching a couple of steps and the pass off to Olakau'atu. Dragged down desperately by Munster and Wishart. 23 out right-hand side of the post. Dummy half Feldy off to Fogarty, and now Paseka put up the fend there on Grant, and now 22 out last play Seagulls. 12-0 their lead. Simpkin back to Fogarty. Off a step, the kick for the corner. Up goes Jason Saar, but up there first was Tumalati Brown, who's lost the footy over the western touchline. We'll give the ball back to the Sea Eagles, who have had, by the way, 60% possession in the opening, 26 minutes, Dean Hallertau.
Yeah, it was a great challenge there by Saab. Obviously, he's an ideal target. He's so tall and he gets up in the air, but I thought Tumalatu Brown did a good job to defuse the situation. Fortunately, he can't come up with the ball, and he gives Manly another set.
So they'll play it 11 out from that southern line here, the Seagulls. 60% possession, 91% completion versus 70% completion Melbourne. So it's been a game of errors for the visitors so far. They trail 12-0. Left to right they come. Tom Trebojevic almost gets there himself. Now he's 5 metres shy, deep in that southwestern corner of Brookvale Oval. Feldy back open side left to Fogarty. Again, charging and passing to his left. Brown, Brooks, dummies. And now Brooks seems to fall over here in the tackle of Tolau. And he's a bit slow getting up here as Luke South Klein blows time off, and now time back on. Manly 12, Melbourne 0 the scoreline. You're with Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau, Ruan Sims. Here's Nathan Brown. 11 out left-hand side of the sticks with 13 left in this first half. Fogarty back on the inside for Jake Trebojevic, and now he's claimed there by Alec McDonald. This will be last play Seagulls. 5 out from Melbourne's line. Simpkin, the kick now from Fogarty. Not quite the third try from Olakau'atu. Falongo got there first and knocked it over the dead ball line. So, almost a hat-trick there for the big fella. 12-0 remains Manly's lead. 13 left in this first half. Back to the touchline, Ruan Sims.
Well, Manly have just made another interchange here. Ethan Bullimore has come onto the field. Paseka is having a bit of a rest there, and I'll tell you what, that is well-deserved. He's been enormous to start this game for the home team.
And to repeat, no Moses Leo, who was flattened about 10 minutes ago. Category 1 HIA, so he'll be taking no further part. Short line dropout here is snared through the air by Hopewadi in his 50th game. Played to Simpkin. Here comes Bullimore, as Ruan Sims mentioned, off the bench tonight in jersey number 10. It was a late switch there for Simeone Laafi. Played there in front of Grant. Simpkin across open side right. Brown charging into Harry Grant and Josh King, and will now play it. 11 out centre field for the Seagulls. 12-0 their lead. Comes to Brooks, and Olakau'atu runs straight into Josh King, and he's put on his back there. 8 metres out, right-hand side of the uprights. 12 left in his first half as we get close to half-time. Simpkin across here again. Bullimore, the post-contact game, takes 3-4 Melbourne defenders with him into the padding of the left-hand upright. Simpkin off to Tom Trebojevic, kicks off the instep, but Falongo's there, and this time he grounds the ball at least back in the field of play. And I'll start their next set from there, the Storm, on their own goal line southern end, but they trail 12-0, 11:50 left in the first half in Hallertau.
And that was a huge play there from Tuafalonga, because they are under all sorts of pressure at the moment, the Melbourne Storm. He got himself in a really good position and showed a lot of courage to get down and back in the field of play.
Simpson got some unfriendly contact there from Alec McDonald on this next run for the Storm. They still haven't in their own 10-metre line on tackle 4. So good defending here for the Seagulls as well, who lead 12-0. Grant off the deck, his left-hand side now to Cameron Munster, the man who, of course, played his 250th game last week, scored a try. His claim now comes quickly to Trent Tolau to end the set here for the Storm. Taken by Tom Trbojevic, and he returns the kick to within a few metres of the halfway line, western side of Brookvale Oval. Here's Jason Saab, and Saab in a 3-man tackle collected 40 out from Melbourne's lines. So it's now 62% possession for the Sea Eagles, and they've been far slicker in the, well, it's not dry underfoot by any means. I'm sure the footy's still slippery, but it's not raining for the time being. Pass comes here to Bullymore, got it from Brown. He takes on the fullback, got around Falongo, but he's dragged down from behind with McDonald. Play at 15 out. Good break there for Bullymore. Here's Tom Trbojevic, almost gets there himself. 2 metres out from Melbourne's line. Played to Brooks. Back to Fogarty. He kicks to the corner. Saab will launch here. He timed the jump well. He comes out and does score in the corner. This time Saab timed the jump to perfection against Tuamulatu Brown and scores Manly's 3rd try. 12. Make it 16-0. Kick to come Seagulls after half an hour at Brookvale Oval on ABC Sport. Dean Hallertau.
Yeah, we're seeing right there the value of Jamal Fogarty. He's got such a good kicking game, both long and with those short ones. This time it's over the top. And when we mentioned the threat before of Jason Saab in the air, they come up with a repeat set of 6. The previous time they tried this, and on this occasion, Saab gets up and takes it cleanly to put the ball down in the corner. And it was a really fast set once again from Manly. Nice run by Ethan Bullimore to set things up, and they are flying at the moment. Back
to the sideline, Rowan Sims.
Well, you spoke about how much possession Manly have had. They've had 62% possession, which is fantastic and enormous on its own, but it's where they've had that possession. All of it has been just in that transition phase into good ball. So there's been so much pressure put on the Melbourne Storm's defensive structures. And at the moment this year, they've been conceding a lot of points for a Melbourne Storm system. And they've had yet another change on that left edge. Stanley Hewen has moved to that left centre position. Wishart has gone back to that right half, the number 7 role, and then obviously that means Tolau has come into 9, so Harry Grant has a spell.
I've already had 4 or 5 incomplete sets, the Storm, in this first half an hour. So 9 minutes left to the break. It's your text shortly, 0467 920 222. Here's Jamal Fogarty, 22 out. And a couple of steps in from the western sideline to add 2 more points on Jason Saab's try. Fogarty's 2 from 2, starts it right, swings it back beautifully. 3 from 3, Fogarty. And it's Manly Warringah 18, Melbourne Storm 0 with 8:50 left.
Yes, Luke Brooks was just down with the trainer during that break there, getting that left knee tested. He had some heavy contact. I think it was in the Tolau challenge in that previous set of 6 there. He is hobbling a little bit, but I'll keep an eye on it.
Ryan in Brisbane says, Manly just so relentless tonight. Will Melbourne hang in there? Well, let's slip away from them here, the Melbourne Storm. Love hearing the footy on ABC on a Saturday night. Just finishing off a carbonade, is that Flamand? Belgian beef stew for the family, says Mark from Brisbane. If I can't pronounce Ravenshoe, I can't pronounce Flamand or Flamand. And one texter here says the village down the road from Ravenshoe is, or Ravenshoe as I call it, it's called Raventhong. Good on you, 0467 920 222, Manly 18, Melbourne 0. Around the grounds, by the way, AFL quarter time, Port Adelaide 22 leads Adelaide 20 in their derby or showdown there in the AFL. Action here at Brookvale though, Manly 30 out from their own line with Ethan Bullymore, who played a significant role in that previous scoring set for the Manly Warringah Seagulls. Now it comes to Brown, who had an even bigger hand. Ben Trbojevic bounced off the tackle here. 40 out from that northern line. 8 minutes left to the break as they will kick on the last through Fogarty. A high spiralling torpedo punt. Tough task here for Falongo. Lets it bounce over the eastern touchline.
It's been a 40-20.
It is too. So why did he let it bounce? Well, I suppose he couldn't quite get there. He's still confused here far long ago. It is a 2020.
I think that was a midfield bomb. He didn't realise how far back he was.
And it took the left angle there to go over the eastern side. 17 shy of the corner post. So that is a phenomenal 40-20 from Jamal Fogarty, who executes those in different ways so well. So Manly ball here, and yet more possession inside Melbourne's deep in their zone here. As dummy there from Joey Walsh, only playing his 4th career game. 5 out from that southern line. Brooks across to Ben Trebojevic in the southeastern corner of Brookvale Oval. Now he's only 2 metres shy. Play it here on tackle 4 for the home side. They lead, and now Walsh will fire it from dummy half. Looking to add to this 18-0 scoreline in Manly's favour. Held up there, metre shy. Ben Trebojevic. Back here to Luke Brooks. And now Brown, coming on the inside from Fogarty. Feldy bursting by Hassard on the outside there. But he takes the contact of Tumalato Brown. And now Saab, open side left. The kick does come crossfield from Fogarty. Tom Trebojevic bats it back here for brother Ben. And he gets an unconvincing pass away. Socket forward by Joey Walsh. Balongo again fields it in goal area and will just get back in front of the post to start Melbourne's next set. Deep in their own end, they trail 18-0. It's been all Manly so far. 2 tries for Hamoli Olakawatu and 1 to Jason Saab with 6:20 left on the first half clock.
Yeah, just trying to keep track of what's happening as a mistake comes from the Melbourne Storm. And
there, made by Donald this time. So this is now headgear's been lost off Jack Trebojevich's head. Walsh dummy half to Fogarty. Saab, catch and step here on Tumalato Brown. This has been more punishment coming here for the Melbourne Storm as the tackle is made by King on Saab. Saab will play it only a few metres out from that Melbourne Storm line, deep in the corner. Dummy half Feldy across to Fogarty, and now Walsh to Brown to Brooks. Right to left shift they go. Tom Trebojevic to the pacey Tolutau-Kola, who takes on a couple. Spins his way to the line and scores Manly's 4th try tonight. But when they're hot, they are really hot, the Seagulls. It's Fosball, baby. 22-0, kick to come Manly with 5:20 left in this first half. On ABC Sport, you're with Dean Hallertau.
Yeah, well, more possession again from the mistake. They get the ball back. I thought Jake Trebojevic was a chance to go over himself, but they get it all the way to the right edge. Saab gets up after a bit of a push and shove. They shift it all the way to their left, and it's pretty simple stuff in terms of the shift. But as soon as Tom Trebojevic gets the ball, he just gets the defence to hold a little bit. He can create a bit of space out wide, and they're really peddling the Melbourne Storm, and a bit of pace there in Tolu Kola, or a lot of pace I should say, up against Tyron Wishart, who's no slouch himself. He manages to push through the cover defence and get the ball down, and as we said, the Manly Seagulls are really attacking with plenty of intention and conviction.
One of their 3 try scorers against Canterbury last week was Tolutau-Kola. Down to you, Rowan Sims.
I was just trying to look at more changes that have been made in the defensive line for Melbourne Storm. It looks like Wishart has gone to that right centre position, and it looks like Harry Grant is on at 9. Joe Chan off the field.
Yeah, he's disappeared, Joe Chan.
Yeah, so I think he's off. So there's been yet another change to that system and structure, but obviously if you put yourself under pressure like that, your defence will fracture at some point.
I beg my pardon. Kola scored last time they met, in fact. He didn't score last week. Here is the kick from Jamal Fogarty. 23 metres out, metre in from the eastern side this time. So he's kicked the first 3 from the other side of the ground. He makes 4 out of 4 here, does the experienced halfback. It's Manly Warringah 24, the Melbourne Storm 0, with 4 minutes left in this first half. NRL Saturday on ABC Sport. Around the ground Super Netball, half-time the preliminary final there. Winner to face Adelaide in the grand final next week. Melbourne Vixen 33 leads West Coast Fever 24. It's more of your text shortly, 0467 920 222. Imagine if Manly wins 40-0, says one texter. Well, they're well on track at this point. They'll go past that if things keep going this way for Craig Bellamy's men. But Manly were in their 2008 replica jersey to honour the team that beat Melbourne 40-0 in the grand final that year. Here's Bullymore. Hits it up off Josh King and Trent Liero. He'll play at 12 out from that northern line. And there is always McDonald, who of course made the error at the previous set for the Seagulls, resulting in their 4th try. Away it comes here. Good burst off that 20-metre line with Ben Trebojevic. Rolled back there for Joey Walsh. Off to the try scorer, Tolotau Kola. 33 out, 20 in from the eastern side. The Seagulls here midway through the set as Brown directs it to his right. Fogarty off here again to Tom Trebojevic, and now Saab over halfway. Took on Tuamulatu, Brown and Munster. Meter in from the western side, that touchline, and now just inside Storm territory. Again, Fogarty's kick goes up. Won't be a 40-20 this time. He kicks from the halfway line. It bounced there in a more friendly fashion to Suafalongo. And this time he is chased to the ground by Ben Trebojevic. 13 out from their own line, the Storm. Warbrick gives them a quick 10 here, the winger. 25 out, 20 in from the eastern side here early in the set. Now a set restart going Melbourne's way. They trail 24-0 here at Brookvale, by the way. 2:50 left in this first half. You're with Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau, Ruan Sims. NRL Saturday on ABC Sport. Munster is now collected by Nathan Brown and Joey Walsh. 35 out from that southern line. Ball floats the pass from Grant to Brown, to King, I beg your pardon. King will play at 40 out. Back to Harry Grant now. Quick play the ball. Off to Liero. Flick pass to McDonald. And now he is collected by Ben Trebojevic just inside Seagulls territory. Grant no look pass to his left. And now Liero took on Walsh. Won't be so lucky here against Brown as he will now play at 35 out from Manly's line. Last play for the Storm. Tolau's kick. Running right foot drop punt. Down towards the northern goal line. Up there Hopewadi. Escape one would-be tackler, but not so Wishart here. He's back in the side and wears the very important number 7 jersey in the absence of Jerome Hughes. But the Storm right now looks stuck in attack and defence. They trail 24-0. Minute 50 left in the first half in Hallertau.
Yeah, they do look stuck. This is the first time we've looked to our left for a long time now, and it wasn't a bad set, but they're just not coming up with any real opportunities at the moment, and Manly continuing to play at high speed.
As it comes here to Nathan Brown. Brown tackled by Liero. Play at 25 out from his own line. Running pass from Tom to Ben. For the Seagulls, and Ben Trebojevic has now claimed 35 out. Back to Walsh to Fogarty. And a kick on the last, same as that last kick before, this time taken by Falongo. So that was also a 40-20 in waiting there if he was letting it bounce. But he takes the catch for Falongo, slips the penalty tackle, gets him some space here, and now is run down by Fogarty and Saab. Set restart Melbourne though. Scoreboard, big screen's gone dead. That's always fun here at Brookie. Here's Cooper Clark. It is Manly Warringah 24, Melbourne Storm 0. 50 seconds left to the break. Grant across to the right-hand side. Munster off here now again for the Storm. And now getting up to play it underneath all of that is in fact Trent Tolau. Grant short side right, Alec McDonald. And now he's put down by Brooks and Ben Trebojevic. Blumore was in there as well. 30 out, 20 in. Eastern side attacking that Manly goal line, northern end. And again here for the Storm, it's Tolau playing it for Harry Grant. Centre field 25 out. Looks left this time. Caught by Munster. He hurries his kick up there for Tuamulatu Brown. Feldy chased him and tackled him from behind. And it will be last place Storm deep in that northwestern corner of Brookvale Oval. Can they find their first point? Here's Ruckenfridge as well. So it's a set restart Melbourne with these dying seconds of the first half. Munster's long crossfield kick. Warbrick goes up, but Hopewadi was there first. Gets back in the field to play Hopewadi. And now that will be the half-time hooter. I'll tell you what, they play so well sometimes, and this packed hill at Brookvale Oval is rewarded with some great first half footy. Just for the home team. 24-0 Manly over Melbourne here on Sydney's Northern Beaches. Your third of 3 games, NRL Saturday on ABC Sport. But 24-0, and those first 2 tries came to Hamoli Olakawatu in the 5th and 10th minutes. So a quick double for the back rower, trying to play himself back into a blue jersey. Jason Saab scored at the half-hour mark as well for the Seagulls, and Tolotau Kola only 4 minutes after that. Jamal Fogarty is 4 from 4 so far, and the Storm remain pointless after the first half here at Brookvale Oval, having had just 38% possession in the opening 40 and a completion rate, Dean Hallertout, was 66%.
Yeah, well, it's not going to do it, especially on a wet night. And Ruan mentioned that before the game, how important possession and completion rates are on a night like this when it's wet underfoot and you're coming up against a team at their home, which is called a fortress. Obviously, the Melbourne Storm had a number of disruptions through that first half with players obviously coming off the field. You hear the crowd cheer for their team as they make their way up the tunnel. But yeah, for the Melbourne Storm, those numbers that you mentioned, Spriggy, is a big reason why they are so far behind on the scoreboard. But for Manly, you can only play what's in front of you, to say an old cliche. They've turned up with a real great attitude to play fast, to exploit the weakness of the Storm, and they've got it done with some points on the board.
You can hear the hostility here for the Storm making their way off the ground. And we had a texter earlier, send a few eagle emojis on the text line. I'm seeing a few more birds here in the crowd that are being shown Melbourne's way. Ruan Sims, your summation on the opening half from the touchline.
Well, Manly just played with more want, more desire and more respect for the football. We spoke about how much possession they've had, but they're completing it 95% for that first half in conditions that are absolutely terrible. Like, it's not currently raining or windy, but it is very wet underfoot. It is very slippery conditions. They're moving the football, but they're respecting it at the same time, and they're just punching holes through this Melbourne Storm defence. Some good news for Manly fans as well. Jake Simpkin came off with an HIA at around the 30-minute mark. He's passed his HIA. He will be able to return to the field in the second half and hopefully continue this incredible role that they've got going on.
Great stuff, Ru. More from you in the second half. Manly 2, Melbourne 0, the penalty count. Ruck infringements of 4-2 Melbourne's way, but haven't made the most of when they've had the ball in either early in the yardage set or, and they've had a rare occasion, deep in attack. But it's not been that they've got that far, the Storm, for the most part, in any of their attacking sets so far. Moses Leo was the player not so fortunate to pass his HIA. He was out cold after making contact there with Molly Olakawatu at full stride. And it remains Manly Warringah 24, the Storm 0. Repeating earlier, the Dolphins 26 beat New Zealand Warriors 24 at Lang Park. And in the game most recently completed in Townsville, the Cowboys 26 beat the Panthers 12. Back-to-back defeats now for Penrith for the first time this year. And of course, only 3 losses so far on the year. And they're still giving it to the Storm at Brookvale, says one texter. Yes, the crowd were going nuts. They were very happy having their own team come off and gave them a rousing reception. Then they were just booing and giving all kinds of signals to the Melbourne Storm players. Had a bet with a Storm supporter in Espirito, Santo Doug. Go the Seagulls. Might not cost me a beer. I don't think it will at this stage. TV says, hey guys, enjoying the call. Surely Hamoli is straight back into the Blues side, and Laurie just simply admits he made a mistake. No shame in that. Cheers, TB. Yeah, he's making a very strong case. Peter says, evening, when we used to load the trains for Ravenshoe, or Ravenshoe as I call it, we Australianised it to Crow's Boot. Thanks. Newy John says, thank you all for enjoyable listening. I've become an ardent fan since the start of the comp. One question, why are the beanies sold so late in the season? Well, Mark Hughes spoke about this, about the origins of the beanies for Mark Hughes Foundation, Beanie for Brain Cancer. I guess it's pretty handy in sort of the June, July, August. It's right in the middle of winter. You can't sell a lot of beanies. It's a nice cause anyway to support, but as far as people having the need for a beanie, it's probably handy this time of the year.
Yeah, they're open to donations the whole year round.
Of course,
beanies
yes.
Obviously sold for the purposes you just said there, Spriggy.
Absolutely. Jerry in Bondi says, game set bingo. Never saw this coming. Knew they could win, but this is so one-sided it's a shock. Yeah, 24-0 is the halftime scoreline here at Brookvale Oval. Thank you, Tim, for your continued texts. When is Harry Grant going to be referred like any other player in the ruck? It's a joke when he gets what he gets away with, says Michael in Dubbo. Andrew from Wagga, good evening team. As always, I love listening to your call. I'm just sitting outside with a few coldies, a fire bucket, and of course my Mark Hughes beanie as it's Beanie for Brain Cancer around. Thank you, Andrew from Wagga. He says, go the Eels. And by the way, someone mentioned that 40-0 result. There's also a big sign on the hill which says the 40-0 hill. So, honouring the 2008 side here. And indeed, the great battles that these sides have had, namely here at Brookvale over the years, the Sea Eagles and the Storm. 24-0 is the halftime scoreline here around the grounds in the AFL. Second quarter at Adelaide in their showdown. The Crows 32, lead Port Adelaide 28. Right now, though, it's time for ABC News. Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. People living in the Venezuelan state of La Guaira, north of the capital Caracas, are pleading for heavy machinery to move collapsed structures to free trapped people, following the powerful twin earthquakes 2 days ago that have killed at least 1,000 people. Larry Buttrose reports.
La Guaira is one of the worst-hit regions, and the government has restricted access to it to allow first responders to travel in and out. It comes as rescue crews and families race against time to free trapped people. Like many, this woman has a number of relatives trapped.
My brother, my sister-in-law, my niece, my nephew and friends are in there.
Acting President Delcy Rodriguez says her government is mounting a full response during these critical hours for rescuing people alive. But with tens of thousands listed as missing on independent digital databases, the death toll is expected to rise.
Energy Minister Chris Bowen says the federal government is focused on protecting Australia's fuel security as the US and Iran trade fresh military strikes. Political reporter Lexi Junowick has the details.
Mr Bowen has confirmed during his weekly update on Australia's fuel stocks that the nation has 44 days worth of petrol, 37 of diesel and 29 of jet fuel in reserve, responding to strikes traded between the United States and Iran amid a fragile ceasefire. The Energy Minister has called for all sides to see the dispute resolved.
We just need to remain focused on our own task and ensuring our own fuel security during this international uncertainty.
Mr Bowen says there are no plans to extend the cut to the fuel excise beyond August, with the government to begin winding back the discount from July 1st.
Energex says copper thieves caused major power outages across southeast Queensland overnight. At its peak, around 12,000 customers in suburbs including Boronia Heights, Hillcrest and Regents Park were affected by the outage, which was caused by a fire that resulted from an attempted copper theft at the Browns Plains substation south of Brisbane early this morning. Kev Lavender from Energex says it's selfish behaviour.
Anyone who's been involved in going through a live 11,000 volt cable could have serious injuries and could have resulted in a fatality. So it's something what we're passionate about on our network. So safety of the network, safety of the public.
A 15-year-old boy has faced a Melbourne court charged over an alleged abduction of a schoolgirl in the city's southeast. Andy Yu has more.
A 17-year-old girl was allegedly forced into a car as she walked into a high school at about 8:30 yesterday morning. Police arrested a teenage boy several hours later and charged him with abduction. The girl was taken to hospital. In a children's court hearing in Melbourne late today, the accused did not apply for bail. His lawyer requested he be assessed for a shoulder injury and for mental health. The matter was adjourned to July the 6th.
The Democratic Republic of Congo has filed a case against Rwanda in the International Court of Justice, accusing its neighbour of breaching multiple international treaties. In a statement, it says Rwanda dispatched forces and backed armed groups to carry out unlawful military operations on its territory following the 1994 Rwandan genocide. The Congolese Justice Minister says his country is seeking accountability for alleged breaches of conventions covering genocide prevention, racial discrimination, women's rights and torture. Rwanda has not yet responded, but it's long dismissed evidence that it backs rebel groups in the country. In sport, Socceroos goalkeeper Patrick Beach says his approach hasn't changed despite his starring role in Australia's World Cup campaign. The 22-year-old has started in goal for all three of Australia's group games, helping the side to secure a place in the knockout stages of the tournament. Beach says it means a lot to have the confidence of the coaching staff.
I think that's the only the opinion that really matters to me is the staff. They're the ones that pick the players that they think will do the job, and like I said, I'm really grateful that they have that belief in me to go out there and do a job for the team.
And when people tune in to next year's Eurovision Song Contest, they could see a new country competing.
Canada has become eligible to take part after CBC Radio Canada became a full member of the European Broadcasting Union. Prime Minister Mark Carney, who's been seeking closer political and economic ties with Europe since taking office, raised the idea last year of Canada joining the song contest.
Tammy Shipley believed someone was out to hurt her. She's put under 24-hour surveillance, and then something strange happens.
Ambulance emergency.
Tammy's story. Search background briefing on ABC Listen.
ABC sports coverage of the 2026 NRL Premiership.
Early in the set now for the Sea Eagles. Simpkin across now to Fogarty. Left to right they come as Feldy might go himself. It was run down there by Tumalatu Brown. Metre short of that southern goal line now. Simpkin got the pass out in close to Hamoli Olakau'atu, and who else to score the opening points of the night? The man who's got a point to prove if he is to make a last-ditch effort to have himself recalled to the New South Wales team. It's 4-0 Manly kick to come, 7 short of the halfway. Big hit from Feldy on Leo. Somehow Leo keeps the ball, but dragged towards the western touchline by Jake Simpkin. Some afters here as well. Oh, here we go. It's really on now. Battle of Brookvale style. Brooks comes in. There's jerseys being grabbed. Ref Klein saying that's enough, gentlemen. 2 metres shy of Melbourne's line, southern end. They come short side right. Olakau'atu again crashes over. Put himself in close, right-hand side of the ruck, and the back rower scores 2 tries in the space of 10 minutes. It's Manly 10, Melbourne 0. Seagulls kick to come on ABC Sport, Dean Hallertau.
Well, the conversation about Olakau'atu being included in Origin is getting louder and louder as this game starts to heat up for Olakau'atu.
2 metres out from Melbourne's line. Played to Brooks. Back to Fogarty. He kicks to the corner. Saab will launch here. He timed the jump well. He comes out and does score in the corner. This time Saab timed the jump to perfection against Tumalatu Brown and scores Manly's 3rd try. 16-0 kick to come Seagulls after half an hour at Brookvale Oval. Saab will play it only a few metres out from that Melbourne Storm line, deep in the corner. Dummy half Feldy across to Fogarty, and now Walsh to Brown to Brooks. Right to left shift they go. Tom Tavurich to the pacey Tolotau. Kola, who takes on a couple, spins his way to the line and scores Manly's 4th try tonight. But when they're hot, they are really hot, the Seagulls. That's Fosball, baby. 22-0 kick to come Manly.
ABC sports coverage of the 2026 NRL Premiership.
On your radio, ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
24-0 the halftime score here at Brookie. You're with Brett Sprigg alongside Dean Hallertau and Ruan Sims as the Storm make their way back out of the sheds. And there is some big news on a couple of fronts here. We'll get to Ruan Sims very shortly. The Seagulls make their way out. Your text remain welcome, 0467 920 222. As we'll get to a few of those. Stephen Concord says, "G'day boys, script going to plan. All of New South Wales hopefuls playing out of their skins and Queensland stars in the Storm have hardly fired a pop gun. But you watch, Origin 3 performances will be completely different. It happens so often, I'm sick of it." Thank you, Stephen Concord. And Daz in Gosford says, "Listen to your call. Love how you can hear individuals in the crowd at Brookie. Not like the large stadiums. Can't beat a packed suburban ground." Thank you, Daz in Gosford. So we'll get a word from Roo shortly as to any potential wood out of the sheds from either side. The Seagulls will kick off here to start the second half, and they've been just phenomenal in this game so far, Dean Hallertau.
Yeah, they have been. It's been all the Seagulls that are playing downhill at the moment.
And they kick off here down to that northern goal line. Fed off here to Alec McDonald, and he charges into those waiting white and maroon jerseys. Brown and Jake Boyovich just pile him back, 10 out to his own line. Grant off to the right-hand side here for the back rower in Lasati. He scored a try against the Canberra Raiders last week. And, of course, the Raiders play St George Illawarra tomorrow. And you hear all the pre-game fun with Maury, Louis and Gibbsy from midday. Wins today to the Dolphins over the Warriors, and the Cowboys beat the Panthers. Storm here through centre field. Grant, a couple of steps, the pass to Munster. Early kick for the corner. Trying to catch Blurich out of position, but he gets back there and will just ground the 48 metres out from his own line. Turbo Tom, and I'll start their first set of the second half. The 24-0 head start after 55 seconds post half time. So 12 out from that southern line, played there by Jason Saab. Dummy half Fogarty all the way across here. This time there's a bit more willing defence from the Storm as Lasardi drives back Josh Fellerty. Open side left here, Lehigh Hopewadi. He steps into Liero, and now Harry Grant. 17 out from that southern line here. 20 in from the western side, and the Seagulls continue on the attack. Simpkin across here to his right-hand side. Nathan Brown a couple of steps, and now he just sort of shimmies into the defence of Josh King. Play at 30 out. Simpkin back to Fogarty, and he kicks down high and long downfield. On the bounce there for Will Warbrick. He returns that kick to about 40 out from his own line. 20 in western side. Storm go back on the attack. After 2 minutes in this second half, it remains our halftime scoreline. Manly Warringah 24, Melbourne Storm 0. It's with Tyron Wishart. About 5 short of the halfway. Grant across here now to Suafa-Longo, and over that halfway line he goes before Bullymore tackles him. Played to Grant, directs it left now for Josh King, and he's hit immediately there by Ola Kawatu and Jake Trebojevic. 40 out, 20 in from that far side in front of the hill at Brookvale Oval. Through hands it comes, toil out of Fire-Longo. Couldn't quite get the break as Walsh got him first in concert with Fogarty. In fact, it was Collar in there. Now 30 out, 20 in. Kick comes from Cameron Munster. Up in the air it goes. Launching, bringing it down well there for the Melbourne Storm was the man out there in on the edge. It goes long cross field as now Tumalatu Brown shrugs one tackle, and now that will be changeover as eventually he is stopped on that far side by Jamal Fogarty. So we've played 3 minutes in their second half. Still Manly 24, Melbourne 0. Now the touchline, Ruan Sims.
Yes, Ricky, so obviously from the Melbourne Storm, Craig Bellamy, he said he wasn't happy with the amount of possession or completion they've had. They just need to complete better and make sure that they're making their tackles. I'm sure there was more to it, but they didn't want to share anything else than that. Manly, obviously, Foz is very happy with the way things are going. He wants them to maintain the rage and their field position. And very sad news for Manly. Luke Brooks hasn't returned to the fray. They are concerned about ACL issue with that left knee. So I hope that's not the case.
For the 250-plus gamer, Luke Brooks. So that is concerning news that they're fearing the worst as far as a knee injury for Luke Brooks. Open side left, they come here, the Seagulls. Simpkin to Jake Trebojevic, and now Walsh to the left-hand side. Tom Trebojevic, Kohler here, puts on the afterburners here as he takes on that edge defence of Tolau. And now on this last play, it comes to Fogarty. Down towards through centre field, Far-Longo. Skips across the defensive line. There's the Melbourne halfback, and now he will start their next set. 27 out from that northern goal line. Dummy half Munster. Back here again now for Warbrick. Can he keep his try-scoring run going? He scored 3 tries last week, 7 tries in his past 6 games. Now a set restart for the Melbourne Storm. They'll get a full set from halfway to attempt to penetrate Manly Warringah territory. And now Tumalatu Brown sort of flips here in the tackle of Simpkin. I don't think it was an unfair tackle from Simpkin. It was just sort of the way he somersaulted there, Tumalatu Brown. Ash Klein says, yep, time off. Now play it. 40 out, centre field, here it comes. Off to Liero. The pass to his right. Inside ball back now to Lasati. Storm have had no real attacking looks for much of this game. Playing 24-0. Here's McDonald. Dragged down from behind by Jake Trebojevic. 20 out middle of the park. Played to Grant. To his left now for Munster. He dummies. Gets inside the 10-metre line. Last play Storm. The veteran 5'8" will play it. Oh, the pass looked a little dodgy from dummy half Grant to King. Either way, he's run down. Changeover. 5 out from Manly's line. Seagulls will go back on the attack. Dean Hallertau, the 24-0 lead. 5.5 gone second half.
Yeah, well, the Seagulls get the ball back, but it's been a far better start to this second half from the Melbourne Storm. I agree with you. Probably a line ball there. Probably more forward than not, but the Melbourne Storm probably achieved one of those goals from halftime, and that is to complete it 100% so far.
Go Manly from Sharky at Ballina, New South Wales. Mind you're a Cronulla fan, Sharky. 7 out from that southern line. Played by Paseka to Simpkin. Off to Lee Hopewadi in his 50th first grade appearance. Played back to Simpkin. Rips the pass left to Brown. Grant got him down low and up top Liero. 25 out from that southern line. Second last play of the set. Early kick comes from Joey Walsh. Falongo is ready for it, takes the catch, and again, that bit of a gallop in the bright pink boots, gets over the 40-metre line and now claim 7 short of the halfway here. Can the Storm find something in this second half shot because they trailed 24-0. Here goes Wishart, dragged back down by Joey Walsh. Oh, the fans love him, this youngster. Joey Walsh signed a new contract recently for another few years. Of course, he's highly touted, so 2029 at least he'll be a Manly Warringah Seagull. Local lad, went to St Augustine's where my car's currently parked. Here they come, left-hand side as they get it to the edge there for Stanley Hewen. So he's out there, as Ryan mentioned, came on late in the first half for just his third appearance. And they shifted across through right-hand side of the field. Josh King, play out in the last for Harry Grant. Off to Tolau, couple of steps and the kick. Warbrick's chasing it. Hopewadi goes up, bats it back here for the Seagulls. Dangerous ball here as it's lost by Nathan Brown, maybe? No, yes, Ashquan has in fact called knock on. And it will be the Nathan Brown knock on there, which will give possession to the Storm, which is going to be their best attacking look for the entire game, Dean Hallertau.
Yeah, you'd have to say so. And again, he's our target with Warbrick. They're going to the right. I know that Cameron Munster's a dominant half out there at the moment, but they're not afraid to go to Trent Toilau on the last play. And I think Nathan Brown knocked it back initially, but then it's that drag. He drags it into his body, which is a knock on.
Touchline, Rowan Sims.
Yeah, this is definitely the best look that they're having at the moment. And Tyron Wishart is just getting some water from the trainer as his ball is being put straight into the scrum here. They're just a little bit lost at the moment. There's a headgear on the field still.
At the base of the scrum, Harry Grant goes to his left and now trying to charge his way through here for the Storm is the fullback Falongo. So he's lost the headgear. Grant, inside ball to Josh King. He does tend to often not play the entire game with a headgear to a Falongo. Here is Josh King, played 5 out. Open side right they come. Munster off to his back row, Lasati. Great tackle around the legs down there by Joey Walsh. Dummy half Grant across to McDonald. Set up on by 3 Seagulls defenders. Metre out from that southern goal line now. He stole a cheeky metre there as well. McDonald played to Grant. Munster back on the inside for Josh King. Straightening around toward the post. Awkward flick pass back to McDonald. Spun around, gave it back to Harry Grant. This is still second last here for the Storm. He puts in the kick and now it's grabbed by Tom Trbojevic in front of the upright southern end. So they thwart that little attacking foray there from the Storm to Manly, and they keep their 24-0 lead with half an hour left in the game.
Yeah, well, there's great positioning there from Tom Trbojevic on that little cook. Harry Grant gets the ball standing still. It's a little bit of broken play, so he's looking for an option. We know how crafty he is. Comes up with that little grubber, but Tom Trbojevic well aware to it.
Here's Jason Saab, one of their first half try scorers. You see that he's been approved to play for Lebanon in the World Cup, which is a sort of a unique situation. His stepfather is Lebanese, and that's who he very much considers to be his primary father figure. So it was a special sort of dispensation made by the international governing body to play for Lebanon at the World Cup. Fogarty, torpedo punt high in the air, taken by Warbrick cleanly. And he gets up and charges into Ben Trbojevic on the western side of Brookvale Oval, only a few metres short of the halfway. Dummy half Wishart steals a quick dozen. And this is play 3 coming up here for the Storm, who still trail 24-0. It's a hell of a deficit at the hands of the Seagulls. Can they find some points early in this second half? You're with Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau, Ruan Sims, NRL Saturday on ABC Sport. Grant across left-hand side is now again Josh King is grappled by Molly Olakawatu. 15 out, 20 in from the eastern side. Played to Grant, second last play. And now Munster directs traffic to the right-hand side. Pass comes wide here for Warbrick, who flies into the corner and scores the try. Well, he's lost his number in the process, the winger, but he slams the footy down, and he's now scored 8 tries in 7 games. Will Warbrick, who have their first points of the night. They now it's our 24-4 kick to come, Melbourne.
Well, they're throwing a lot of football at the moment. The Melbourne Storm, they've certainly come out after half-time, as we mentioned, with a better attitude, and they're playing some really positive football. This shift to their right, they stripped them for numbers, and Manly have been coming up and in quite hard throughout this match. Whenever the Melbourne Storm look to shift it, it goes to the hands of the lesser experienced Trent Toiler. He throws a nice Harbour Bridge pass over the top to find his winger there, and Will Warbrick, who pins the ears, goes for the corner, and I think he does a great job there to keep his body in the field of play and get the ball down.
Touchline, Ruan Sims.
Yeah, he certainly does, and I'm sure that the bunker will just be checking a little bit of that inside shoulder move, or making sure that those lead runners are coming back on the inside and not impeding defenders in their ability to get out and try and put some pressure on him there. But I actually thought the previous set of 6, when Harry Grant kicked the football, they had an opportunity to go out to the left, but they just didn't pull the trigger on it. They had them stripped for numbers that time too, but this time saner heads and calmer heads prevail, and they find the right person.
On comes Sean Blaw, by the way, Roo. So that's their 4th bench player used the Storm. So Tolea, McDonald, Blaw and Stanley Hewen there. 4 players used for Craig Bellamy tonight. 24-4 with a kick to be taken here by Sua Failongo. Impressive young fullback here for the Storm. He's 26 metres out, metre in from the western side, right in front of us. Here in the western stand of Brookvale Oval. And this sparks some Melbourne momentum. Failongo, tough angle, sets it on its way, and he misses to the near side. So it remains Manly 24, Melbourne 4. NRL Saturday on ABC. Sport round the grounds, AFL half-time. Port Adelaide 54, leads Adelaide 38. In the Super Netball prelim, 3/4 time, Melbourne Vixens 51, leads West Coast Fever 34. The winner will face Adelaide in the grand final next week, who played in Melbourne. Because they sold the grand final off, is that right, Mitch? I think I'm right in saying that was a controversial thing for a while there. 24-4. The scoreline here, 12 minutes played, second half on this Saturday evening at Brookie. Get to your text shortly, 0467 920 222. Tolau off to McDonald, and he's met there by Paseka and Co. to welcome him. 15 out from that northern line. Grant keeps going open side left. So a strong run here from Atavalu Lasati. As I said, among their try scorers against the Raiders last week. And now, middle of the park, they keep going here upfield. Played by Yatoi Kamano. Grant kicks from dummy half for a 40-20. And chased by Tom Trebojevic back towards that southwestern corner. Paddles to advantage here and now gathers and is tackled 10 metres out from his own line, southern end. As the Seagulls sort of set up in that middle part of the ground. And played by Lehigh Hopewadi. Walsh off to Jason Saab, as now he's claimed by Yatoi Kamanu and Sean Blaw, 13 out from that southern line. Feldy has been good tonight at centre for in the absence of Ruben Garrick for Manly. Played to Simpkin, back to Nathan Brown. No real gain here on the carry for Nathan Brown, who will play at 25 out for Simpkin. Back to the left-hand side. Walsh kicks from the 20. Straight centre field kick to Failongo, who's going headgearless for the remainder of the game, you would think, Shop, and he's taken out the legs by Jake Simpkin, who'll play at metre shy of halfway. Storm back on the attack. So end-to-end stuff, not quite the blitz we saw in the first half, where the Seagulls scored 24 unanswered points, but it's 24-4 still in the Seagulls' favour. 13 and a half played in this second half so far as the Storm rumble upfield. Now a set restart going the way of the visitors. Wishart a little slow getting up. Play it for Grant. Left-hand side now for Yatoi Kamanu. He gains a quick 10, and now it will be tackle 3 here for the Storm. Grant to his left-hand side. Leroy almost lost by McDonald again. He sort of jinks across the line. He shares it with Lasati. Lasati collected 17 out right-hand side of the sticks. Grant back across the uprights now, left-hand side he goes. Munster to Farlongo, got away from Paseka, back to his skipper. Grant finds Munster again, skips away from Jake Trebojevic and now put down by he and Olakawatu. 7 out, left-hand side of the post. Grant, he was in the way there, Jake Trebojevic in the ruck. Nothing doing going Melbourne's way. Pass comes Liero, little kick here from the lock forward, footed by Lehigh Hopewadi, and by the time he is tackled, he's 17 out from his own line. Manly still leads 24-4. Now, is there a set restart going there? Where a penalty? No. It's with them, Trebojevic on tackle 2.
Yeah, it's probably the first little whip there for the Melbourne Storm in the second half. Liero sees a chance in behind the line. Obviously not a traditional kicker. A little bit of a selfish play, and it gives the ball straight back to Manly when the Storm had been building nicely with their pressure.
Well, they come left to right here, these Sea Eagles. And again with Paseka, the big tall front rower. He's actually the equal 5th tallest player in the NRL, Paseka. I looked that up, by the way. Don't ask him why. Comes to the right-hand side. Played by Feldy. Still 8 metres short of halfway. Off to Fogarty. At last he ends the set with a wobbly ball down through centre field. Warbrick takes the catch. Game's most recent try scorer. Brings it all the way to about 43 out from his own line. Now played to Trent Tolau and Tyron Wishart. Back in the side tonight. Gets up inside Manly Warringah territory. Metre inside that southern half of Brookvale Oval. Sea Eagles 24. Storm 4. 16 gone, 24 left second half. Harry Grant stands in the tackle of Jake Trebojevic. Will now play at 40 out. Off the deck it comes from Tolau to Lasati. Broke one tackle. Offload untidy. Picked up by Grant. Back to Tolau. Crowd thought the pass was forward to McDonald. Will now play it 25 out centre field. And now, by the way, Lasati's still down clutching his leg, so it could get worse here for the Storm as Grant plays it 15 out. Back to Tolau. He runs and kicks and overran for Wishart. Couldn't quite cover the bounce. It was a very high bounce to Wishart. Couldn't quite get there in one fell swoop and put the footy down. So 20-minute restart here for the Sea Eagles. Trebojevic, that's Tom, runs around the trouble area where Lasati is still down. And by the way, it's repeating there is concern for Luke Brooks, as Ryan mentioned earlier. Manly fears a serious knee injury for their veteran 5'8". But Roo, as I come to you, the immediate concern is for Lasati here for the Storm.
Yeah, things could get worse here for Manly. I think it's Joey Walsh that does what looks like a hip drop on Lasati's ankle, and Lasati is being helped from the field. He is in significant pain. He went down immediately, and he's in the bin. There you go, 10 in the bin.
There we go. So Joey Walsh will have 10 in the bin for the incident, which is seeing Lasati come from the field. Harry from Hornsby says, really enjoying the call. Thanks for keeping me company as I drive to Canberra for tomorrow's Spoon Bowl. Hoping my Raiders can jag a win and go on an unbeaten run to the semis. Thank you, Harry. Very wishful thinking. Into a few more. Jackson on the Gold Coast says, go Manly. Always enjoy the battle against the Storm from Jackson. Thank you, Jackson. Lasati coming off shaking his head here. So at least they're down a man here, the Seagulls. They're down a couple of men, the Seagulls. I mentioned Luke Brooks' injury, but now they're down 13 on 12 with Walsh in the sin bin.
Yeah, so obviously they've gone back quite a ways here to come up with the penalty, but because it was a sin binnable offence, that's why they've been able to go back a couple of tackles here for the Melbourne penalty.
Still haven't seen it, by the way. Manly 24, Melbourne 4, as they find touch on the western side via the boot of Cameron Munster. Penalty count in the game is 2-1 in Manly's favour. 24 for the scoreline. Within 8 metres here with Cooper Clark. Played the Grant, open side left. Tolau off to Munster. Left behind there for Bloor, who's crashing through. Good post contact carry here as he's collected by Aaron Schopp. That's a triumph for Aaron Schopp. Mentioned the ACL for him late last year and back playing first grade footy. Here's Munster. Offloads back to Grant. Plenty of space there for the captain. Now he's lost the ball in the Trebojevic tackle. So again, just when it looks like Melbourne are threatening, Manly produced something. It was a great defence there from the fullback and captain, and it remains the Sea Eagles 24, the Storm 4, 17 gone, 23 left in this second half.
Yeah, it was great left shoulder tackle, I should say. He's seen that Harry Grant was probing around the middle off the back of an offload. The second phase has been really effective for the Melbourne Storm tonight, but he gets right up under that ball, knocks it free, and big play there for Manly, particularly with only a man down defending their own line.
touchline. Ruan Sims.
We've got a crowd of 17,211 people here, and every single one of them were on their feet when Tom Trbojevic made that tackle. And it was classic and it was perfect because he lowered his body height up under the football. That's just textbook stuff.
Right-hand side of the scrum, they come with Jason Saab. Dean Haltow shows me a nice demonstration as well to my right here in the commentary box. 20 out centre field here, the Seagulls, played by Paseka. Short side right, they come as Simkin links up with Olakawatu. Can he find the hat-trick? Scored 2 tries in the first 10 minutes of the game. Here's Nathan Brown. Good impact off the bench tonight for the Seagulls. Certainly 7 short of the halfway. 20 in from the eastern side. The Seagulls on their second last tackle, and now Tom Trbojevic gains a quick 10 up inside Melbourne territory. Hand of the air from referee Ashley Klein. Simpkin comes to the left now again for Fogarty. Couple of steps and the high kick to Will Warbrick, who's, as I mentioned, lost most of his number. It's just sort of flapping in the breeze there as he gets into stride through centre field. He scored the most recent try in the game, and he's claimed here by Paseka and Aaron Schopp. 17 out from that northern line. Wishart makes no real gain on his carry. Tackle 2, make it 3 now for the Storm. Grant to his right for Cooper Clark, and Clark is stopped by Ben Trbojevic. Off the deck, scooped up by Grant with the one hand. Pass off his left shoulder here towards Liero, and Liero now only gets somewhere near halfway with 2 tackles left in this set now for the visitors. Tolau, right to left they shift it. Falongo, out of the tackle of Saab, offloads back to Munster. It was pushing a questionable pass, but was in fact called forward. And the crowd are now cheering everything here. 17,000 strong Brookvale crowd. They would love this. No points yet in the second half for Manly, but they keep a commanding 24-4 lead at the midway stage of the second 40. Dean Hallertau.
Oh, I've got to be honest, it was probably a fraction forward. It was really tight, but the touch judge on the far side was at a good position to see, in a big picture of Jake Trbojevic throwing his arms in the air like he just won a marathon or something.
Stuck here watching 4 hours of dance performances, says Tynan. Thank God for the Bluetooth headphones. Shh, don't tell anyone. Thank you, Tynan.
Been there.
I hope you're enjoying that. Yeah. Aaron Schopp, 5 inside that northern half of Brookvale. Simpkin off to his left-hand side. Trbojevic back to Simpkin. And now Fogarty leaves it back on the inside here again for this man who is getting up to play at 30 out centre field. It is, in fact, Aaron Schopp. So back to Simpkin. Left-hand side Fogarty. Left behind there for Nathan Brown here on tackle 3. And this will be 30 metres out from that northern goal line. Manly attacking towards their headquarters, their centre of excellence. Tom Trbojevic, speaking of excellence, he has it with Feldy. Slips one tackle on that left edge Melbourne defence. Now he's ragdolled by Munster. 13 away from that northern line, and it will be second last play here for the Seagulls. 24-4 their lead. Fogarty, flat ball here for Paseka, and the NRL's equal fifth tallest man now will play it 8 out from that northern goal area, front of the upright. Simpkin back to Fogarty, off to Kohler. Dangerous corner here as he kicks for the corner, and Falongo bats it dead, out touching goal. 24-4. It remains Manly's lead with 19 minutes left in the game. Ruan Sims on the touchline.
Well, you would not think that they are down a player. They are absolutely finding space and punching holes in this Melbourne Storm defence, and they look so good. Even with one player off the field, they look so slick and they're just in their groove.
Yeah, so still 4:55 left of the Joey Walsh sin bin, and they've still held on to this stage of the game possession of 56% as the clock expires here for the Melbourne line dropout.
Yeah, they'll go for 2, I'm assuming, here, and just wind more of the clock down and get that extra couple of points on the board. But yeah, to echo Rue's sentiments, the job they've done while they've had a man down has been superb, both defensively and with the ball in hand.
John from Cairns says, thanks for your great commentary. As a matter of interest, my dad used to drive rail motors to Raven Show, which is Queensland's highest town. Storm are struggling, but could I suggest that the Panthers are on a critical downward spiral and will not win in 2026. Don't take the bait there with Penrith. They will be okay. Yes, two losses in a row for them, which is sort of rare. It's been rare through this era. And it will be, in fact, a 2-point attempt here. A penalty goal from the Seagulls from directly in front. Shout out from Burls and the Wiz with the purple circle listing from work. Loving the call as we carry the boys, making them look good. Go the Titans. Thank you for that. 0467 920 222. Thanks for the call, crew. Cowboys just move when they win, says the early Cowboy. They did win earlier against the Panthers, 26 points to 12. 24-4 the scoreline here. Jamal Fogarty lines up the next Manly Warringah points from directly in front for the penalty goal. Will be 26-4 very, very soon. He's 4 from 4 so far tonight. And he makes no mistake here. The pyro goes up. And a little more subdued celebration from the 17,000 strong fans here at Brookie as Fogarty makes it 5 out of 5. Manly Warringah 26. The Melbourne Storm 4. Ronnie Rooster at Foster. The officials pick up that forward pass, but officials missed last night's one, which lead to Broncos try, not consistent. It's as you say, Dean, sometimes those fractional ones can go either way. And
it was tight. They're in line. They're not going to catch all of them, obviously. There's perspective. It's very different to watching on TV versus being in line with it down on the ground.
Around the grounds, AFL half-time, still Port Adelaide 54, Adelaide 38. Super Netball fourth quarter. The Melbourne Vixens will be punching their ticket very soon through to next week's Super Netball Grand Final against the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Here's Ben Trebojevic, and he escapes the tackle there. We've also got Jack Hetherington out there. Hang on, that's not right. Hang on.
That's correct.
Yeah, Hetherington's out there.
Yeah, because Lasardi was out through foul play, so
Yes.
Hetherington is able to be activated as the 5th interchange for the night.
Thank you, Roo, for that clarification again. So 26-4 remains the Manly lead. Simpkin bursts from dummy half here and gets to that 30-metre line. Plays it out to Tom Trebojevic. Off now to Hamoli Olakawatu. And just on that foul play, so Joey Walsh still has 1:50 left in the sin bin, so it's still 13 on 12. And in that time, they added no points to the Melbourne Storm. It's come away here now with Farlongo, and he's put down 27 out from his own line. As they rumble upfield here, the Storm. 15 minutes left in the game. Munster, 40 out, 20 in from the eastern side. Here goes a charge from Tuamalatu Brown, who started at centre in the absence of Jack Howarth, who was withdrawn last night. Pass from Yatoi Kamanu. Off here to his right-hand side with Tolau. And he'll play it 40 out, 20 in, inside Manly territory on this second-last play for the Storm. There is Jack Hetherington. And now we last play. He's 30 out, middle of the park. Played to Grant. Left-hand side now to Munster. Up it goes, launching his Saab, and Saab is tackled immediately on that edge by Stanley Hewitt and Cam Munster. So 20 out from their own line is where the Seagulls start this next set with a 26-4 lead and 14-20 left in this second half. Dean Hallertau.
There's a confident take there by Jason Saab. Often when you've got space behind you, you'll let the opposition players come through, catch the ball and then tackle them straight away, but confidently takes it, and Manly now rolling downfield.
Centrefield run from Tom Trebojevic on this second last play, so he's a bit slow getting up here, clutching the back of his head. Didn't see a crusher there from Cooper Clark et al. But he's a bit slow getting up here, the Manly skipper.
Making a play on this, obviously nothing caught in the review either.
We just also clarified it was second last play here as well. So now as Hopewadi gets to the halfway, it will be last play for the Seagulls, says referee Ashley Klein. As it comes from Simpkin to Fogarty, who was dealt with there by Hetherington. And now we picked up, so come back here for a Manly penalty. A bit of demonstration going on as well with Woolwich all up in Jack Hetherington's grill. It will be going the home side's way.
But there's there's not much in it. Look, he definitely gets him, pushes him. You can't do that anymore, and it's really silly from Jack Etherington because you just know you cannot knock a player over when they're kicking the ball, especially one leg in the air, both feet, I should say, off the ground. And Etherington goes on with a push and shove as well, and it's probably one of his issues that he's had across his career.
Still 26-4 Manly's way. Meanwhile, Ruan Sims, Joey Walsh rejoins the fray.
Yeah, he's back on the field. They didn't concede any points there, so I think it's a really great defensive effort. But they were just full of running as well, even with ball in hand. They looked so structured and they looked so calm and confident, and they understood what they were doing. But that was just very silly there from Jack Hetherington, just gifting field position and putting the defensive line under pressure.
13 and a half left here at Brookvale Oval as the Seagulls lead 26 points to 4, and taking on the defensive line here, getting up to play it now is Olakawatu. Played to Simpkin, across to Brown, straightens his run toward the posts, and now 11 out from that northern line now. Can the Seagulls find more points? Walsh burst receiver. They'll show and go to Tukawarich, and now Tolata. Collar bursts through, and he is getting it down, perhaps. No, held up in goal, I reckon's the call. Let's have a listen.
Tolu, play the ball and tackle 3.
There we go. Early call there from Ash Klein. So, still 3 tackles left to make something of this set for the Seagulls and add to their 26-4 scoreline.
That was a huge effort from Will Warbrick. I thought he was through for all money there, Tolu Collar, but he gets himself around the ball and holds him up.
15 out from that northern line. Simpkin. A wrap-around ball here again now to Aaron Shop. Getting up to play it now. 9 out in front of the uprights. Simpkin back to the left. Same as before. Tom Trebojevic holds it though longer. And now dragged back. It will be last play Seagulls. Deep in that northwestern corner of Brookvale Oval. A burrow from dummy half. And Ben Trebojevic scores a try. Party time here at Brookie. 30 points to 4, kick to come. Seagulls with 12:30 left on the clock.
Yeah, well, they were denied once, but they had to wait 15 seconds or so for their next opportunity. And Tom Trebojevic, he goes into the line. There wasn't much doing, but he takes them on, and he gets dragged down by 3 defenders. And those 3 defenders are really slow to get back up and get in position. It's a messy ruck. A player injured as well, and it's spotted by Ben Trebojevic, his brother at dummy half. He just piles below them, knocks the injured player out of the way, and gets a 4-pointer. Very smart play there from the back row.
Scores his 5th try of the year. And look, one try doesn't make an entire night necessarily, but there's been talk about whether he's been consistent enough at this level for long enough from Trebojevic, and he scores a try here. Everyone seems down here on the touchline.
Well, I tell you what, he might not be the 5th tallest person in the NRL, but he's pretty tall, and for him to get that low and burrow that quickly close to the line, that's a really, really great effort there by Ben Trebojevic. But I tell you what, Manly, they just look so slick tonight, and we've seen sort of the last couple of weeks they've dropped really close games and lost a bit of polish in their sets of 6, but I tell you what, tonight they've just come out shot like they've been shot out of a cannon right from the start of this game.
Coming off the back of the Golden Point loss to Canterbury Bankstown last week at Stadium Australia, this time last week they lead 30 points to 4 here. Here's Fogarty, 21 out, 10 in from the western side, and he misses across the face. His first miss of the night. So he was 4 conversions, 1 penalty. Now he's 5 out of 6 all up, Jamal Fogarty. And good times never seem so good here for Kieran Foran and the Manly Warringah Seagulls. Tell you who's a tall fella, Cameron Ciraldo. I was on the flight back with the Bulldogs from the Gold Coast this morning. He's bigger than I thought he was.
You don't ever see him sitting at a desk, right? You don't.
Yeah, I'm not on the ground level with him or up in the. Yeah, you don't see these guys up close. So he was bigger than I was expecting.
Big guy, yeah.
Speaking of big win for the Bulldogs last night. They've won 3 in a row now. Where is it here? Thanks again for the very entertaining call and informative call on the game today. You guys truly are the reason I'm an NRL convert. Bring on the Bears, says Hillbilly Harv in the Perth Hills in WA. And tell you what, they are charging into a man who will be at there next year. Tyron Wishart, he'll play it. 15 out from that southern line. Dummy half Walsh, who was sinned in earlier in this second half. And now Hetherington slams Hopewadi into the deck. 20 out from their own line at southern end for the Seagulls. 30 points to 4 is their lead. 10:40 left in this game. This is NRL Saturday on ABC Sport. We'll wrap up all the games that have happened today and look ahead to tomorrow's games as well. Raiders, Dragons at Canberra Stadium, and we'll be in the Hunter shop for the Knights and the Tigers. Across to Fogarty it comes, takes on Grant. Good post contact carry here for the halfback. And he's on the halfway line, 20 in from the eastern side. Last play Manly, short side right they come. Simpkin to Tom Trebojevic and now Feldy. That will be changeover. Melbourne's ball 40 out from their own line with exactly 10 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, well, it's a weird intercept there for Manly. They die with it on the opposition 40, but they didn't panic, which is something that you sort of see as a bit of maturity in their game. And I know it's an experienced guy, and Tom Trebojevic throws that last pass, but yeah, a weird intercept there.
Manly 30. Melbourne 4 as Yatoi Kamanu is put on his back by Laiafi. Just inside Seagulls territory. Grant to his right now for Josh King. A low ball gathered there by Tolau. Gets a pass off to Cooper Clark, the young back rower. Play at 35 out for Manly's line. Grant off to his left now for Josh King. He stands in the tackle of Simpkin and also Paseka and Laiafi. Played now 27 shy of that southern goal line. Munster, and the pass was coming, but he wasn't sort of watching out there. Was that man in, was it Toikamanu? Or Toikamanu who's made the error there for the Melbourne Storm on that far side of the ground. So Manly 30 and the Storm 4 with 9 minutes left in the game. At touchline we go, Ruan Sims.
I can see what he was trying to do there, Cam Munster. The space opened up outside of Yatoi Kamanu, but Yatoi Kamanu thought he was just going through as a lead runner, and this is a trap for young players at home. You're always an option. Stay live, keep your hands up, be ready for the footy, because it comes to you when you've got those ball players seeing gaps and seeing opportunities.
Manly scrum feed 20 out, 20 in eastern side. That now means, well, they've improved their completion rate across the second half, the Storm, but there was nowhere at the half time. It was 68% or something. So another error made that time by Yatoi Kamanu. Manly have it now in their keeping. Here's Olukawatu. 2 tries in the opening 10 minutes tonight at Brookvale Oval. Set restart Seagulls, 35 out from their own line. Simpkin fires it across. Jake Trebojevic and now Laiafi. Hasn't been all good news for the home side. Luke Brooks, a suspected ACL for the veteran 5'8", who's, as I said, 260 games of experience, playing under his 9th NRL coach now, Kieran Foran. And now Ben Trebojevic cops some heavy contact. It will be a step right out in the bin for Trent Tolau. Yeah, there was a warning there from Ash Klein, and then he will have to go and sit for 10.
It was a silly play again. He gets the 6 again called against him, and he doubles down and pushes Ben Trebojevic over as he's trying to play the ball for a second time. So a bit silly there by Trent Tolau. Just, I guess, the frustration of where they're at in this game tonight.
I was going to say, it's that little cliche, isn't it, Ruan Sims? It's symptomatic of Melbourne's frustrating night, of course, and that just got the better of Trent Tolau then.
Yeah, it certainly did, but that's obviously where, you need to be disciplined. You need to understand that sometimes your frustration, or all the time your frustration, shouldn't dictate how you act out on the field. And that's, I think Craig Bellamy will be really disappointed with that one.
Won't see him back on the field tonight with the sin bin still 2.5 minutes beyond the game clock, which has 7 minutes and 20 seconds left here at Brookvale Oval. Manly 30, in fact, Melbourne 4 here on ABC Sport with Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau and Ruan Sims. Here's Laiafi, slammed to the turf by Josh King, played to Simpkin, across to Walsh. He steps on the inside there of Hetherington and now put down. 15 out from that northern line. Simpkin sets up from dummy half again, goes to his right this time. Paseka up in front of Liero and now Josh King. And now he'll play it 5 out right-hand side of the sticks. Simpkin goes short side right. Jake Trebojevic back it comes from Olukawatu, and a little too hot was the pass to the wing for Sub. Went behind him. Will be Storm's ball. 15 out from, let's have a listen to this captain's challenge.
Tackle 4, we have a captain's challenge from Manly. It's been the on-field decision of the ball went for touch. They believe it was touch.
So they'll argue last touch here on that ball that went over the eastern touchline. Dean Hallertau, 30 points to 4 is the scoreline here. Let's get back to Ruan. Oh, hang on.
Just looking at all about language to see if the ball hits Cameron Munster's arm or not.
With Grant Joey Atkins. Of course, that big screen's a long way away from us. So Fogarty's pass. skim off the forearm of Cameron Munster.
Based on all available angles, we'll be supporting the referee's on-field decision of not touch by Melbourne. Manly Warringah will retain the right to challenge.
Okay, so not enough insufficient evidence, but they'll keep their challenge in these last 6.5 minutes for one, Sims.
If it was touched, it was a hair on the forearm. But just for Manly fans, Tom Trbojevic has been taken from the field. He's not injured, he's just being rested.
They'll be up next away against Parramatta Sunday, the 2 o'clock game in round 18. Back it comes, open side right. And now 25 out from that Northern line. Is there a chance that Tom Trbojevic gets an opportunity in the New South Wales squad if he's back playing now, of course, but he's not been sort of linked in the same way as Munster does kick from 20 behind the 40. Won't quite roll over the eastern touchline there beyond that 20-metre line. Manly back on the attack with a 30 points to 4 lead.
Yeah, it's hard to say. He's been solid since he's come back into the team, but you need to go up there and win if they're confident enough that he can turn on a big performance, and perhaps.
This player 20 out, Felody. As now he is tackled by Trent Liero. Trent Liero, of course, and scored a try in game 2 for Queensland. His spot's been sort of as well has been under pressure for the maroon sort of things as this kick goes into touch on the western side of the ground from the Seagulls with Melbourne's ball.
Yeah, as Joey Walsh went for a crossfield kick trying to find his winger. Unfortunately, the winger wasn't onto it, and the winger was actually Ben Trbojevic at the time, so probably thinking something that wasn't connecting with his outside men.
That's Melbourne done for the year, says Rowdy Andy. I'm not convinced either that's the case, but would have been a nice win for them today, but the Seagulls were just way too hot as the break is made here, the half break made by Josh King, and he's wrapped up by Fogarty. Play at 30 out. Munster back to Hetherington, takes on a wall of defenders there. Laiafi and Jake and Ben Trbojevic. Play it now 17 out. Grant with a couple of steps and the kick here. Was he held back as Kohler gets there in the in-goal area, and Manly will go back on the attack with 4:30 left in the game. The Seagulls 30 leads the Storm 4.
There was lots of spacing behind there for Harry Grant. It wasn't a bad play. Unfortunately, he didn't have the wheels to match it with Tolu Kohler, who covered the ground really easily and got his team out of trouble.
So, open side left they come here. Lehigh Hopewadi. And he crawls beyond his own 20-metre line here, the 50-gamer tonight. Simpkin comes off left-hand side. The run of Joey Walsh. Slipped the Grant tackle over halfway. Brought down around the legs by Wishart. And Walsh, who was Sin Manila in this second half, will play it now for Ben Trbojevic. 3:50 left in the game. Through hands it comes left to right. Now Fogarty off the Tolotau Kohler. Leaves it behind there for Josh Feldy. This is second last play now for the Seagulls, and Feldy takes on that left edge defence. He's now claimed out there by Stanley Hewen. Played by Feldy. In the side tonight for Ruben Garrick, who's out with a head knock. As now the kick does go into touch from the Sea Eagles. And the old classic sign has been reworked here. The one that says, guess what, Manly hates you too. It says, guess what, you can't hate Foz. I think the Seagulls fans at least certainly agree with that. 3:20 left in the game here. Manly 30, Melbourne 4 is our scoreline. NRL Saturday on ABC Sport. It's the 40-0 Hill as it's been renamed tonight. The Seagulls honouring that 2008 Premiership team. Cooper Clark brought down the tackle of Ben Trbojevic and Joey Walsh. Played 30 out. Grant on tackle 4. It's been a loss there backwards by the Storm. Picked up by Munster. Slings it back to his fullback Failongo. Manly gains half a dozen before brothers Jake and Ben grab him. 27 out. 20 in from the western side with 2.5 minutes left in the game. Josh King on a centre field run, trying to burst away from Olakau'atu and Laiafi. Grant picks up a dummy half and surrenders here in the tackle of Simeone Laiafi. He said his first career start tonight for Simeone Laiafi. Kick from Wishart up in the air. Warbrick gets there ahead of Hopewadi, but as he is stopped, now that will be a changeover. And Manly's ball, 27 out from that southern goal line here with a 30 points to 4 lead. 2 minutes and 7 seconds left on the clock. Ruan Sims.
Well, Hamoli Olakau'atu went up in that challenge as well, and he came down on his haunches. He's just holding those ribs there, so hopefully nothing too serious. Hopefully just winded for him, and obviously his chances for a Blues jersey.
35 out from that southern line. Simpkin. Across to his right now for Josh Feld. He stands in the Harry Grant tackle, and he'll now play it 5 metres shy of the halfway in his own half of Brookvale Oval. Jake Trebojevic got away from Liero, and the bubble headgear wearing veteran Ford will now play it. 40 or so out from that Melbourne line. Through hands it comes. Feldy back to Olakau'atu with 80 seconds left in proceedings here. Now the last play for the Seagulls. You heard it there from referee Ashley Klein. Simpkin waits at dummy half. Off to Jamal Fogarty, and he tumbles the kick out for touch, 17 metres shy of the corner post. Minute and 3 seconds left.
Yeah, it's going to be a very slow scrum here. I don't even know if the Melbourne Storm are that keen to get to a quick scrum. And, Manly have really done a good job in the second half of weathering the onslaught from the Storm and really not losing their patience even with the man down through that 10-minute period. And they've closed out the game even though they haven't piled on the points that they did in the first half.
30 points to 4 is the scoreline as they come up on that 20-metre line here at the Melbourne Storm with the services of Trent Liero. Played to Harry Grant. Fires it back to his right now for Cooper Clark with 20 seconds left. The Sting certainly out of the game after a 24-0 first half blitz. Chip and chase here from Wishart. Polongo soccers out of the air here. He might get there as well. He takes on Opawati, and guess what? Most occasions he won't beat him. As pacey as Polongo is, Opawati controls the ball to his chest and lets the seconds tick down here because Kieran Foran Seagulls are back on the winners list. They win this latest battle at Brookvale. They defend the fortress. 5 games in a row now at home, and they win here tonight, 30 to Melbourne Storm's 4.
Yeah, well, a performance that was built all in the first half there where they completed really highly. They dominated field position and they converted that into points whenever it was on offer. And, it was a really strong performance through that first half. I thought that Jamal Fogarty did a great job of steering them around the park. His kicking game, as always, was superb. They picked out some really good spots on the edges to go to. Jason Saab come up with a nice try crossfield kick from Fogarty, but saw a really patient performance in that first half. Still willing to move the ball around and look for those opportunities, but completing really highly in wet conditions was a big plus for them. The Melbourne Storm, obviously, a number of reshuffles with personnel being injured and coming from the field, and the
now on the NRL ladder, so back on the cusp of the top 4 there, which of course is the Panthers, Warriors, Dolphins and the Roosters as it currently stands. But another important win, 9 wins on the year now for the Manly Warringah Seagulls, and it was just an unbelievable first half. 24-0 we mentioned there with those 2 tries in the first 10 minutes for, we think, soon to be recalled back rower Hamoli Olakau'atu, recalled as far as his origin selection is concerned. So we'll get some reaction from Ruan Sims as the players shake hands. Of course, we'll keep your texts coming loud and clear as well, 0467 920 222, and we'll recap the entire day's footy so far. Wins to the Dolphins over the Warriors, 26-24, and 26-12. The Cowboys beat the Panthers. In fact, I'm a bit disappointed there was that last try because the 26 was much number today. 26, they got 30 the Seagulls. So anyway. 26 was the magic number as far as teams winning games, but we'll see if we can get some reaction from either side down there with Roo, who's resplendent in a fantastic watermelon crush Mark Hughes beanie. Popular choice, I think, across the entire footy community. And as I said, you can keep your text coming as well, 0467 920 222. 2 tries to Olakau'atu, singles to Saab, Kohler and Ben Trebojevic, and Will Warwick scored the Storm's only try in the 49th minute. We saw both Joey Walsh and Trent Tolau sin bin, both in that second half. And it was a more subdued second half from Kieran Foran's band, wasn't it, Shop? Obviously, they did what had to be done.
Yeah, they did. And, it was definitely not the stream of points that they had in the first half, but 95% completion for the entire game is an enormous stat in wet conditions. And, they've been encouraged to throw the ball around and play ad-lib football and play what's in front of them over his tenure. But they have to do that with completion, and they certainly did that tonight. And, in front of a really good crowd, again, under the rain.
17,211 the crowd tonight here at Brookvale Oval, seeing Manly 30 beat the Melbourne Storm 4. I expect we might hear from Tom Trbojevic very, very shortly with Roo as the crowd disperses from the 40-0 hill, and the Seagulls now make it 5 wins out of 7 occasions against the Melbourne Storm. So a nice form line in recent times, and 4 out of 5 here at Brookie against the Storm. Let's go down to you, Roo.
Thanks very much. I've got Tom Trbojevic down here with me. Mate, what a win. That first half, it was like you were shot out of a cannon to start the game. It was great.
I wish all halves of footy went like that. We really managed possession, managed field position, and to go in, it was 24-0 up. You're always happy. Probably didn't manage the first bit of that second half, and they got a bit of momentum, but we were able to hold on and finish the game off, which was pleasing.
You held on beautifully, and I tell you what, when you went down to 12, no points scored against you.
Yeah, that's obviously pleasing. They had momentum at that point, and were able to just to hang on and show a bit of resolve, and that's the footy side we want to be, especially at home.
Well, good to see you out there running freely. You've got TV duties. Catch you later.
Yeah, you've been brushed.
Tom Trbojevic there. Roo knows how all that works. She knows about the pecking order. There you go.
Host broadcast.
See what you can do, Roo, with our next interview. But yes, indeed, TV gets right away, which is fair enough. 0467 920 222. Might go in the Melbourne Storm camp with you, Rowan Sims.
Thanks very much, Cam Munster. Cam, that first half, that was so tough. They had so much momentum in that first 40 minutes.
Yeah, when you obviously start that way, our discipline let us down tonight, and we did it similar to the Raiders last week. It just didn't start well. Probably the last 5 or 6 weeks we started really well, and then the last 2 weeks have probably just fallen down a little bit of energy. Manly are up against it again tonight. Obviously there's always been that rivalry between us, so they're always hard to beat at home. But at the end of the day, we were pretty poor in certain areas, especially just being patient down there. A couple of times we probably pushed the envelope and just didn't execute. So yeah, it's one of those things. Footy's sometimes like that. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So take all the chocolates tonight, and we will pick ourselves off the canvas and worry about next week.
It also doesn't help when you've had a few injuries in that first half, particularly, and the defensive line had to change a number of times.
Yeah, I guess you can always mope about it, whinge about it. At the end of the day, that's what happened to us. Those are the cards we're dealt. So I thought we'd done really well. We've been on the mouse guard a little bit. We weren't clinical and execution-wise with our attack, but I thought we tried really hard indeed, especially with the way they play and how fast they are outside back. So yeah, look, we'll look at wounds, get back to the drawing board. It's not the end of the season for us. We still got a lot of games left in it, so hopefully we can build back on that. And we've got the bye next week, so it would have been nice to get the win tonight and go into the next week, but unfortunately that's not as...
Does the bye week look any different coming off the loss, or it stays the same?
Look, hopefully I get picked for Origin, but we'll find out on Monday. But yeah, look, it's one of those things where it does hurt. Like, we could have won the bye next week. It could have been a 4-point play tonight. So yeah, I don't know whether some of the boys were probably thinking they'll have the week off and we can just put the slippers on, but they know that themselves. So yeah, look, disappointing, but at the end of the day, that's footy.
Speaking of Origin, I do want to ask you briefly. I spoke to JT after the game, and he just said how impressed he was with Billy Slater and the way he handled that half-time, going into that second half and bringing that performance out of you all.
Hey, wish you, mate. Good, mate. Yeah, Bill's obviously outstanding. He's been there, he's done it. He's been in the big moments, so he knows what it takes to get yourself out of those ruts. And I felt very confident with our team. With the blokes that were in our team at the time. I went up for a HIA and we defended really well. So it just showed where the grit was. And sometimes when your back's against the wall, you got to stand up. So yeah, we did that.
Well, good luck. I hope you get selection, and go look after the body.
Thank you so much.
There you go again, Roy. Another pre-TV interview. Great stuff. Good to hear from Cameron Munster. And it's not season over for them, Shop, but it is a big few weeks coming up. So the bye, then Gold Coast, then some massive games against the Roosters, Souths, who are a top 4 worthy side on their form, Canterbury, and then Manly again in Perth in the first week of August. So that's the next little snapshot there for the Storm. A big period coming up for them.
It's that's like some physical football and some teams that are on the up. Gold Coast Titans are certainly a team that you worry about, I think, now, even though they're not a heavyweight of the competition. They've put up some strong performances, and when they get confident, they're hard to come up against. So it doesn't get any easier for the Storm, and they've got to learn their lessons really quickly and do what they've done over a number of years now and figure out how to play the style of football that brings them success.
Manly 30, Melbourne 4. Now, by the way, this didn't happen, of course, tonight, but keep this in the kit bag for maybe a couple of weeks' time. That Melbourne are due for their 500th NRL win. So they're on 499. Didn't happen tonight, the milestone. Didn't even get close, but that will be happening at some point this year. And the Seagulls, as I mentioned, have now won 5 games in a row here at home.
Yeah, and just touching on it again on their defence, you heard from Cameron Munster there, said that he was proud of their defence. They did miss 37 tackles, but they were asked to make 406. So that's a pretty high number compared to the Manly Seagulls. 273 tackles they made and only 23 minutes. 23 is a low number. So see the weight of possession figures into that, and you got players out of position, so it's any wonder you come up with misses. But in terms of like entire tackle count, 406 is a lot.
Give me those numbers in full. 59% possession the way of the Sea Eagles, 95% completion versus 78% completion. It was in the 60s in the first half. That was a dire first 40 from Craig Bellamy's men. The Sea Eagles ran for about 360 more metres as well, which is significant. 6 line breaks to 2. It was indeed, 39 tackle breaks across the game for the Seagulls, which was 15 more than Melbourne. Offloads 11, 6 Melbourne's way. I mentioned those missed tackles with the tackle breaks. 39 was the number in the end for the Storm. 9 errors to 5. Penalty count was 5-1 Manly. Set restarts were 6-4 Melbourne's way. And those reports and sin bins. So we saw Joey Walsh sin bin as well. So let's go have a look here. So he's hang on. So the reports, obviously Trent Toilau was professional foul, right? So he was sin bin. There was no report made for that. The report was made for Paseka in the second half, which I didn't catch live. And Joey Walsh for Joey Walsh for the sin bin, the Lasardi one.
Yep.
So that was actually his on report, Joey Walsh. So there you go. 2 reports made, 1 for either side in the game tonight. Manly Warringah 30, the Melbourne Storm 4. 0467 920 222. Gear Steward says the Storm are ruining their mistakes. That's not your best work, Gear Steward. As the scoreboard sims it away. No. That's not one of your best ones. Francis says, I thought the Storm were on the up. When are the selectors going to give Jamal Fogarty the recognition he deserves? Well, at the moment, as far as Queensland's concerned, they've got a fantastic halfback in Sam Walker, their best player arguably in Game 2. So it's not a place. And Tommy Dearden, of course, who won't be unfortunately available for Game 3. We learnt yesterday he's had a bit of a setback with the syndesmosis, but they're not lacking in halfbacks in the maroon colours. No,
and it's fair to say that Fogarty deserves some praise for his football. He's been great for a number of years since he debuted. He's one of those late bloomers.
Yeah, he came in the mid-20s, I think. When
and he's been really solid. He's probably understated at times, but his kicking game's great to watch. And you can see, and this is no knock on Ethan Sanders, but you can see at the Canberra Raiders how much they do miss his guidance in the way that they play.
Go Manly from Stormy in Oakey, Queensland. Tim, thanks for your text, mate. I think you've had enough for tonight. Fredo in Ipswich says, good call, team. Not good for Storm. What's with Trbojevic being nearly every second word? It sounds like a plague. LOL. Well, I could do my best not to mention that name, but there's 3 of them out there.
3 of them. There's
always, and the way that the chain of play goes, it's always like Jake's there, then it's Ben, and Tom's bursting. It's always, it's a tough one.
Jake Balls plays, and then it hits Ben, and then it heads back to Turbo in the middle.